Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And today we're discussing Overwatch.
And we are the Rambling Reviewers.
Oh, okay, well, whatever. Shut up.
And when we discuss Overwatch, we're not really doing a game review, per se, because we haven't played the dang thing.
Which is kind of good for what we are talking about, because the developers have stated that the story of Overwatch is not canon to the games. Or vice versa,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Overwatch is particularly interesting in how much what we call fluff has been generated.
Which is actually why we can't really discuss Overwatch right now. We have to discuss something else first. Team Fortress 2. Now, a lot of people might know this game as that game about idiots running around in the middle of a gravel quarry and killing each other, or as the war-themed hat simulator.
Yeah,
They are correct. Team Fortress 2, sorry.
I remember the
is
original
this-
Team Fortress, though, which had no personality comparatively, so it's interesting to see how it changed.
It was released back in I don't know and I don't care. To quote the creators of it, there wasn't a story in Team Fortress 2 because there wasn't room for one, because it was basically a multiplayer deathmatch simulator. You log in, you select your character, you run out, and you start murdering people.
The characters were entirely defined by what they could do in game. There was the scout, there was the
There's
sniper.
9 classes.
Is there a sniper?
Yeah.
There's a scout, sniper, the heavy.
The scout, who is from Brooklyn, and who
Now he's got a personality. That's what you're.
Well,
getting
okay,
at.
he's from Brooklyn, but that was obvious from his accent. The Russian heavy with the minigun, the engineer who's from Texas, and he builds things like teleporters, sentry turrets, and dispensers, which heal you and do other stuff. The sniper, who's Australian. The spy, who is French. The pyro, who
is mysterious.
Yeah, no one knows what gender they have because they don't really speak and are completely covered at all times. Let's see. Did I say the sniper? Yes, I said the sniper.
The medic.
Medic, who's German. Demo Man, who is a black Scottish Cyclops.
Wow.
That is literally what he says in his introduction video. I'm a black Scottish Cyclops. And there's one more that I can never remember. Because there's 9 classes. Okay. Scout, Engineer, Heavy, Sniper, Medic, Pyro.
Just gotta quietly traipse over to Wikipedia
hang
here.
on. Scout, Heavy, Medic, Sniper. Scout, Heavy, Medic, Sniper, Engineer, Pyro, Demo Man.
The most obvious of all.
Soldier. Oh my god, I forgot Soldier. Soldier, who is deeply and completely insane and has a rocket launcher, because of course it's a winning combination. Now, as the creators of Team Fortress 2 said, when we first started out, there wasn't a story. There wasn't room for a story. So that's why we turned to comics. And Team Fortress 2 decided to release comics to announce different updates and such. Like the Demo Man versus Soldier update, which had an event where you would fight Demo Men and soldiers against one another. That was announced with a comic that showed that the reason they're fighting is because of a mysterious new character, the Administrator, who wanted to ensure that the war between the red team and the blue team continued for one reason or another. The comics would gradually escalate things until what had been a bunch of idiots fighting in the desert were 2 proxy teams representing Reliable Excavation and Demolition, run by Red Man, and Building League United, run by Blutarch Man, sons of Zephaniah Man. As a result of them trying to find more Australium, a substance that's only found in Australia that turns anyone who uses it into a muscle-bound idiot with huge mustaches and chest hair in the shape of Australia. It also allows you great feats of scientific achievement, as shown by a Jetsons-esque city in 1846. This is a world where the silliness of the Silver Age never stopped. For example, Abraham Lincoln invented rocket jumping. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was stupid of me. He invented the second floor by inventing stairs. Before then, whenever anyone wanted to get up to the top of something, they would rocket jump to the top of there, which means jumping and firing a rocket at your feet and letting the blast wave carry you further. This is a world of insanity. But the comics did flesh things out a lot. And that's kind of where Overwatch comes in. Overwatch is basically the same in terms of game mechanics. You have a bunch of different characters with a bunch of different abilities that are all fairly unique from one another, although there is some overlap because we just had the 25th character join the game.
I like to describe it as Team Fortress 2 on steroids.
Yeah, I still kind of prefer Team Fortress 2 in some ways, even though I don't really play it either, but yeah. So we're both fans of what's known as the fluff as opposed to the crunch. Fluff is like news posts, stories, comics, movies.
Basically, when I first encountered Overwatch, I first encountered Overwatch by just a bunch of random things on like Kotaku or whatever, like the news about Overwatch. I'm like, what is this game everyone's playing? And I haven't been playing a lot of games recently. But then I eventually saw their cinematic trailer, and I just thought to myself, wow, I really want to watch this movie. I'm not much for a squad-based shooter games, at least not right now. Maybe I could get into it if I had like enough people around to play with, because online's a little tricky. But I wish this was a film and I could go see it. And if I were in charge of, say, Marvel right now, or even DC, I would say to myself, look, guys, our classic heroes are doing great at the box office, but at some point we're going to need new blood. We're going to need new ideas. Make an Overwatch film, please.
I think they did make an Overwatch film.
What, full length?
Yes, it's called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah, well, still. Make an Overwatch film.
Tell me that's not accurate, though. Tell me that's not accurate. Okay, so Overwatch is the spiritual successor of Team Fortress 2, both in gameplay style and how the story progresses. Because they don't actually have the story progressing in the game. They progress a story through use of expanded universe materials, films, comics, story posts, that sort of a thing.
It is a kind of a patchwork thing where you just get little bits of stuff here and there, which is, again, why a full-length film would be nice.
I know, it would. And some of the cinematics that they've released have been really nice.
Yeah, it clearly shows proof of concept.
Oh my,
I hope they're, like, bringing their proposals around to people who can fund it or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Now, of course, this is me. So I'm going to bitch about it for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The problem I have with Overwatch's story is that what we have set in the modern day is that, well, the basic backstory of Overwatch is that there was a robot war called the Omnic Crisis, where these robots called Omnics rose up against humanity. And then the devastation was terrible, a lot of people died, and in the middle of this, they brought together all these people who, for one reason or another, had special abilities called Overwatch. Well, okay, they brought them together and formed Overwatch in order to create like a group that could fight the Omnics more than just send human waves after these invincible killer robots.
So basically invented the Justice League really quick so they could defeat the evil robots.
Yeah, exactly. And then things started going downhill. They were apparently taken down by a conspiracy from the inside who kept leaking information.
Yeah, that's all very vague, to be honest.
Yeah, that's another...
Somehow or other, Overwatch was the subject of public protests, and people thought Overwatch was bad for some vague reason.
There is some more information about that. Basically, remember Gabriel, the guy I was talking about? He led a group of Overwatch called Blackwatch. Kind of like Section 31 for Star Trek. The ones who are like, okay, you have this squeaky clean image. You do that. We'll be the ones who get shit done that you really can't be caught seeing, like assassinating people, like poisoning the founders. For Section 31, not
I was
for,
about to wonder
for Blackwatch.
If Blackwatch went over to the Star Trek universe and poisoned the founders.
Yeah, that would be kind of awesome, but still, no. Well, the problem was that some of their missions started getting out. At one point, I think they were caught. I'm not sure. One of my complaints about this story is they can be really vague about certain events. Moving along. Well, long story short, Overwatch got shut down because of public inquiry. Everyone kind of hated them, and terrorists blew up their house.
So they did something bad, and then everybody got mad at them.
Yeah.
There's a conspiracy. See, this could be a good story if you fleshed it out.
Exactly. Flash forward to present day when Winston, who is a talking gorilla who came from the moon with armor and a lightning gun. I'll let you stop squeeing right now because that is kind of the real reason I like Overwatch, because it can do absolutely batshit stuff, but we'll get into that when we discuss characters. Winston is sitting around his house. Well, okay, in one of the Overwatch watch points, which is one of their satellite bases. And he's like, oh, there's bad shit going on out there. His AI's like, dude, you idiots got shut down years ago. Why are you still doing this? Also, it would be super freaking illegal for you to get back together with Overwatch. Where Overwatch was really not allowed anymore. And so Winston is like, yeah, you're right. But suddenly, Captain Edgelord shows up.
Not his actual name.
It might as well be. Reaper is ex-Overwatch guy named Gabriel Reyes. And he... well... he was always jealous of Strike Commander Jack Morrison. We'll get to him. And was like, I should have been in command, even though he was probably the most unapproachable son of a bitch who ever lived, and was a shitty leader. In fact, in all of the videos where they show him, he loses. Literally, every video, he loses. Okay, so fun. Or he runs away, either or.
Yeah.
So guess what happens here? He starts trying to download data on where all of the old Overwatch agents were, as well as people that Winston was keeping track on in case, well, these might be good Overwatch agents in the future. And he wants to steal them so he can go out and kill them and make sure that his group, Talon, can go out and do evil shit. Well, Winston kicks all of the ass there after, well, showing his backstory of living on the moon. But we'll get to that. It's going to be a bit of a long one, folks. Sit down and get comfortable. We have 25 characters to fucking cover, so...
Okay. You're going to go through every one of them?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I'm going to weep, and I'm going to pray, and my voice is going to suck. But you know what? I'm going to fucking do this.
All right.
Okay. And so once Winston beats off all the bad guys and kicks ass and stuff, he makes the call to everyone saying, Overwatch is reactivated. Come help us. The end. No, seriously. The story has not advanced past that point. Any stories that we've seen thus far have all been taking place in the past and not in the present. Okay, I'm sorry. They showed a Christmas special where it showed him getting together with Tracer, aka Lena Oxton, her girlfriend, and his AI, Athena, to show, okay, we're celebrating Christmas now. So Overwatch hasn't really been called back because there's only 2 people who said yes to Winston's thing, and one of them is Mai, and Mai's in the South fucking Pole, and she can't contact anyone. We'll get to her idiocy later. But okay, so this really didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean...
and Doomfist broke out of prison, and now he's back as one of the leaders of Talon. Now, my problem with Overwatch is all of it has been backstory. Nearly all of the information we've been given about the characters and the setting have been in the backstory. One of the big things of Overwatch is we're getting the band back together. There's at least 2 songs that I can think of that have the theme of we're getting everyone back to save the world. Well, guess what? That hasn't really been a theme of Overwatch in the stories. Most of the stories are about people doing their own shit.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, one of the characters that they introduce is called Lucio. And we'll get to him later, but one of his motivations is he heard the call, and guess what? He's ready to be a new generation of hero inspired by Overwatch. We haven't had any stories about him. What about Ify and Orisa, the Omnic she made? That is a centaur robot with a Gatling gun arm. Orisa and Ify make a cameo appearance in someone else's story. Yeah. The story wants to say, okay, this is about getting the band back together, they're not doing that. They've been focusing on other stuff, which, fine, you need to set up your backstories? Fine. But Guardians of the Galaxy managed to do that in a 2-hour film, and you've had a year to move the story forward. You're Blizzard. You made StarCraft and World of Warcraft. I think you have the money to hire some more comic writers and artists to say, now you guys write different pieces of lore on this stuff so we can move things along.
No, I would love to be subscribed to like a monthly Overwatch comic and like watch it advance every month or something, you know? Or to webcomic would be even easier.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I know it's easier for the creators, but it'd be easier to access it.
I mean,
But
it's
yay
not
for physical comic shops. They still exist.
It's not... I mean, okay, the stuff they've released has been good in some areas, some areas, others not so much. I mean,
the thing is, they're putting all their energy into the game mechanics, the tweaking of the little variables that make the competition balanced. And I get that. It's just that there's this other audience of you and me and people like us who would love to see more development on the story front because we can see how much potential it has.
exactly.
And it's just constantly not actually there. Dang it.
It's like you're so close to do... I would buy an Overwatch novel. Yeah. And before you say, an Overwatch novel, don't be silly. There's 3 Mass Effect novels. There would be 4, but that one doesn't exist in my mind. No, I mean, it had so many... There is literally a 136-page document available online that lists all the problems with the 4th novel. And that doesn't even get to the fact that apparently a character aged like 10 years in less than 1 and outgrew her autism.
Oh, that's gonna kick a hornet's nest.
Yeah, it was actually one of the first times I got yelled at by an admin on TV Tropes because I basically went nuts on that. Yeah, they did not like me doing that. Oh my god. Okay, side note, do not call someone a fucking hack on TV Tropes.
Yeah, they're supposed to be polite.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But we're getting... Okay.
Oh, Mass Effect. Novels based on games.
Mass Effect had
Mass Effect.
Novels. Halo has a shit ton of novels.
Like 3 or 4 of those. I like them.
Most of the story of Warhammer is based on the novels and shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot that there was something that was not the novels.
Yeah.
Because all I heard about is Caiaphas Cain and all this stuff. Like, oh yeah, there was Warhammer, there are other things.
Yeah, I mean, novels and stuff are a big, big thing. You can do a whole lot with them. So do it! I mean, okay, yes, this game is... Okay, you're working on all these different characters.
Just hire some good authors who are not currently busy with programming. And,
yes. Have them talk with your guys and say, okay, get this down. Give me the novel that shows what actually happened in the uprising in London from that story we...
Oh, yeah, the one section of London there.
Yeah, the King's Row Uprising.
King's Row.
I want to see, from the viewpoint of the people and the terrorist organization going around and Mondada being in the center of that and trying to keep things stable and ultimately failing. I want to see a story about what it was like in the glory days of Overwatch.
I'd like to know exactly what kicked off this Omni crisis and what sort of crisis it was. Was it like more of a... Because I noticed they've got an Omni on their team now, maybe 2. Omnics.
They've got multiple...
They got at least...
In the... Yeah. There are at least 3 playable Omnic characters.
Okay.
Bastion, Zenyatta, and Orisa.
Okay. So one of the things I want to know is if Omnic is just their their phrase, their word
for like synthetic
slang for
synthetic
robots,
intelligence?
Synthetic intelligence of some sort.
Okay, but I mean, like, I don't know that.
I don't know that, yeah, because they haven't clarified it. And then I'd like to know, okay, in this Omnic crisis, was it like just the robots, the Omnics in general, were being controlled by some evil mastermind who launched war on them? Or do they all have individual personalities to begin with, but they're like 99% dicks, and then the 1% joined Overwatch?
We are the 99%, and we'll kill you.
Or like I don't know
the only
what
real
kind of thing was going on here.
Okay, The Last Bastion is personally my favorite of all of the cinematics that they've released so far. And it's the story of Bastion, who is basically a walking, talking tank. Well, okay, he doesn't really talk. He talks in R2-D2 speak, beeps and whoops and stuff. And it shows the Last Bastion waking up because a bird is pecking on its eye. So he wakes up and he's checking out nature's beauty. And then we eventually get to see that he can turn into a turret with like a Gatling gun and stuff. And he mows down trees because he gets literally triggered. And this is not trying to make a pun.
No, literally.
He gets triggered by the sound of a woodpecker, and he's like, "Oh shit, a machine gun!" So he turns into a murder machine, and he's terrified because, "Oh no, I scared away the bird that was my friend."
Oh.
The bird actually has a name.
Oh, what's his name?
Ganymede.
Ganymede.
After the largest moon of Jupiter.
Oh.
It's awesome and adorable, and I just love birds, so that's me. And then later, he starts advancing because he's got this directive in his head saying, "Oh, go to this place." And he's like, "Okie dokie, I have nothing better to do." And he starts advancing towards the city, and then he stumbles across a ruined Bastion robot, like himself. And so he's like, "Huh." Looks around, there's more ruined Bastion robots, but they're like all overgrown because it's been 10, 20 years. He's like, "Okay, I might as well hack into his databanks." Okay, is that just a thing that robots do? Is that okay with robots? Hey, Sonic Sons, I don't know what happened yesterday, so I'm going to hack into your memory banks. And we actually get to see the Omnic Crisis. And World War I was very similar to this. It was like wave after wave of machines advancing. Like, you could see giant mecha in the background, waves of human soldiers running forward with guns, and a guy that looks like he's part of Reinhardt's Nightly Order slamming a hammer down and creating a shockwave to knock over several Bastion robots.
That's exactly like World War I.
Okay, I mean like the despair and the atmosphere and the trench warfare type aspect.
I was just imagining us being like history teachers. So in World War I.
Oh my god, World War I was so much more awesome than what history has taught us. Okay, if someone tells me World War I was fought with Gundams, I am so becoming a history professor. Okay, but yeah, it shows what the Omnic Revolution was actually like. But my point is, that's the only bit from the Omnic Crisis that we actually have seen thus far. Now, there is something to be said about noodle incidents. But a noodle incident only works if you have the imagination to think this up. It doesn't really...
It's got to be... A noodle incident has got to be something where it could be 5 or 10 different things and still fit its role in the narrative. And I feel like, this is a worldwide war, and we're going to visit, let's say, different locations on the Earth's surface. I'd like to know which of them I should expect to be, blown to smithereens. Because they were in that war.
Yeah, I mean, okay, probably not Chicago, because fuck yeah, Chicago.
But, are there particular groups of people who are especially bitter about the Omnic Crisis,
yes.
And so forth?
Actually, Roadhog and Junkrat are, because the Omnics now own Australia.
Really?
I think so. That's one of the things I'm not super clear over. I probably have to go look that up. But
see, if anything we say is inaccurate, it's all Blizzard's fault for not telling us properly.
Exactly. Or I just didn't read the right article. Out of all of these fucking articles.
He's going through the TV tropes page. Wow,
which has links to all of the articles. Okay, yeah, because why not? So, yeah, the stuff they have in the backstory... Now, the individual stories, for the most part, those are okay. There's some that are better than others. At best, they're lukewarm for the most part. But we don't really have much going on in the future. Well, the now. Because we want to know, do they get the band back together? They're going to be fighting the Talon group, right? I don't know!
Yeah, I mean, actually, Winston makes his speech, and he tells him, look what's going on in the world, and he shows him pictures of, stuff blowing up in various locations. I'm like, why is stuff blowing up?
Oh my god, completely contextless information! My god, those madmen!
Like, is Talon going around and blowing things up? That's plausible. Like,
Okay,
maybe
but
though, like,
that's
freaking,
another...
there's just been really bad architecture recently, and stuff
Okay.
is just falling apart.
One thing that is kind of interesting, though, is that even among the heroic factions and stuff, and there's multiple factions represented in all the characters. The game doesn't at all represent that because they're all supposed to be like, oh, you're on this team, kill each other.
Yeah, it's funny how the website refers to them all as heroes.
Even though they're
villains,
like, yeah. For example, most of the characters have either no connection to Overwatch, or are probably not aware that Overwatch is even reformed, and if they were, they wouldn't care.
Really?
Okay.
Oh god, I assumed at least half of them were like former members of Overwatch.
Okay, there's a character. One of the ones I want to know more about is a character called Symmetra. She's implied to have some form of... Well, she's on the autistic spectrum of some variety. I'm not really 100%... I really should look up more stuff on autism, considering, my dad's on the board for Organization for Autism Research, and I have autism. But, like, she's autistic, and her power is that she can use various machines to create hard-like constructs, like turrets or...
Shields?
teleporters and shields and stuff. She's had a comic dedicated to her. Her story is that she works for like this corporation. She's the only character in the entire roster who works for this corporation. And her comic is about her performing a shady act, blowing up some buildings and stuff, in order to make this town more amenable to the evil corporation to come in and start doing rejuvenations and stuff and making this into a company town. But she truly believes that she's doing a good thing. Okay, well, she has her doubts, but for the most part. Okay, I'm interested in her because she's the only one who's openly a worker for a corporation. But we don't know any, and we're supposed to side against her because this corporation is evil. That's all we know about the corporation, by the way, is that it's quote-unquote evil. Not anything else. Not like, okay, they did some shady shit. Congratulations. That's not impressive.
I mean,
What's
I will
more,
agree that
the town that she destroyed the shit in, that's a different character's hometown. Lucio.
Oh.
Lucio, this is his hometown. He was inspired to become a hero because apparently this corporation was doing bad shit in his hometown. And so he's becoming a hero, a new generation of heroes, and we haven't had a single story or anything about him other than the notes that you get from his biography. We know nothing about him. You have 25 characters, and for most of them, we haven't seen shit. The most Orisa's got is that in one of the most recent comics, Searching or something, Orisa was in the background of one of the shots when they went to the African place, Numbani. I mean...
Yeah, you could have a great confrontation between Lucio and Symmetra.
Exactly. That story practically writes itself.
And somehow still doesn't get written, which frustrates us writers back over here.
Exactly. Then you have characters like Diva. Again, no representation. But want to know her backstory? The Korean government has been under attack by a giant monster kaiju. I mean, giant monster Omnic, not kaiju.
Oh.
But like it's a super huge Omnic. It has the ability to self-repair and to adapt to different situations. Originally, South Korea, or whatever Korea it was, decided to just use robots and stuff. But they realized, oh crap, these are getting predictable. This giant Omnic might be getting driven off by them, but it's costing more and more because they're getting predictable. So they instead decided, we need people who are experienced at this sort of thing, at different situations, moving at lightning speed. Gamers. We've got it. And this is actually kind of cool. So they gave these gamers giant mech suits. Okay, not really giant, but like 10 feet tall, that's kind of giant-ish. And said, okay, these are the most advanced suits we can buy. Go for it. Save our nation with your robot suits. That's Diva's backstory. Why is that not its own film?
Yeah.
Just, I have so many...
Oh, man. How many gamers in the audience would love to see the short of the freaking gamers rising up to save the world?
Exactly. I mean, some of them are good. Okay, let's... And here's the other problem.
I want to see her plug like a game genie into
Who
the thing
is
somehow.
the bad guy in this story?
Talon?
See, I would agree with you. But you want to know what makes a great hero?
A great villain.
Exactly. Want to know what Talon's not?
Great.
Exactly. Want to know how bad they are?
How bad?
I personally consider Cobra to be more developed than Talon. I consider the Decepticons in G1 Transformers to be more developed, and they once created a giant purple griffin to destroy the Autobots. That was a thing. Look it up, people. Okay. But we know nothing about Talon. We know that they created Widowmaker by... and this is really actually kind of fucked up. Widowmaker's backstory is that she used to be married to a guy from Overwatch. But then she was kidnapped and brainwashed into an assassin. And then she killed her husband. And now she works for Talon.
Is she aware of this backstory?
Yeah, she is aware.
Is she sad about killing her husband?
Well, the only thing we've really seen from her in the comics is her standing in front of her husband's grave. So I'd say, yeah, she's kind of sad about this. Although I have my own problems with Widowmaker. Specifically, they decided, okay, we need an assassin character. Someone who was able to put a bullet through the eye socket of someone from a mile away. And you want to know how they dressed her? Catsuit with a V-neck that goes down below the belly button. And high heels. And purple! Okay, one of my pet peeves is, let's put the female character in really impractical, overly sexy outfits for no reason. Okay, I admit I'm biased, but put them in fucking Mjolnir armor from Halo! Want to know the thing? There was a comic that showed, like, the Master Chief jumping out of what we thought was the Master Chief, jumping out of a plane and, like, fighting off all these different guys before eventually getting taken down by about 5 squads of orbital shock troopers. No, actually, the Master Chief character won, and then took off the helmet, and it was this girl who was a Spartan, but she retired to start a family, and we didn't know that it was this girl this whole time. And you want to know why that was? Because we had practical armor that is capable of shrugging off tank shells.
Yeah.
Instead of a fucking V-neck. Okay, I know that I might be alone in this, but I don't like V-necks. I don't like the thought of people being, you must take me seriously as a warrior. Lady, you have more exposed skin than I do after getting out of a shower. Put on some fucking pants, put on a shirt, and grab a gun. Don't try to pretend you're some sort of, oh, I'm so good I don't need to wear clothes.
Yeah, in the defense of Overwatch more generally, they do have other characters who don't dress all dumb. I mean, Zarya leaves her arms exposed, I guess, but she's definitely not wearing a V-neck, yeah.
I'm okay with that because Zarya's basically female heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2.
Hey.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I got you get in there.
Okay.
And that's neat that a girl was not only allowed to dress in a way that fit her role, but also gets to be sort of buff and badass in a way that women are normally not.
Okay,
I could make a weak defense of Widowmaker's thing. Like, obviously no sniper in the real world dresses like that, but if there was going to be one character who didn't spend so much effort on armor, it would probably be the sniper. Because they're not near the conflict.
There's a difference between not spend time on armor
and
turning a person purple and giving them a V-neck and high heels in the battle. I would love to see Widowmaker running through the battlefield. Her heel snaps and she falls over and breaks her neck on a rubble.
Yeah.
God fucking damn it, Blizzard. Now, the rest of the characters actually look a lot better, okay? Okay, where was I? Oh, yes, leadership.
And Cobra.
Stargate Atlantis. Oh, yeah, okay. Cobra, okay. Now, Cobra, they say their motivation right in the beginning of every G.I. Joe program. Cobra is a ruthless terrorist organization with the goal of ruling the world. Okay. That doesn't leave, like, why they want to rule the world. But we don't even know what the fuck Talon wants.
Talon is a ruthless organization with the goal of causing just enough shit for Winston to get pissed off about it.
Okay, thus far, we've actually gotten the most Talon information to date from the most recent comic. Okay, one of the recent comics, Masquerade, which focuses on Doomfist. And it's super weird because it's like, oh, okay, so it looks like there's going to be a war between humans and Omnics again. It's inevitable. Okay, bring that to the meeting. Okay, random Omnic guy, bye. Bye, evil Omnic guy. And then later, Doomfist meets with one of the other people who's supposedly in charge of Talon. And he's like, yes, I'm one of the major backers. Our goal at Talon is to get rich. Then Doomfist kills him because he's like, unlike you, I'm an idealist. What are you talking about? What ideals are you talking about? The closest thing we have to an ideal we have for you is humanity needs to fight so it gets stronger. Why? Are you just a bodybuilder? Do you want humanity to get stronger?
Is he just an evolutionist on a social Darwin scale?
I mean, well, if you're not doing this for money, what are you doing this for? The right to double park? The right to take seconds in the buffet line? What is your plan? Why are you doing the things you do? Why are you assassinating people? Why are you hunting down agents of Overwatch? Okay, Young Justice was vague, but they explained their shit when the bad guys finally came into light. And they had a good reason for being like, we want to evolve the human species because everywhere else in the universe is full of bastards. Martians are from the next planet over, and one Martian is fully capable of fucking up the entire world with their psychic powers. The fact that a single Martian is as strong as Superman, has heat vision, are perfect shapeshifters, and oh yeah, did we mention Reed's minds? And that's not even bringing into account things like the Green Lanterns. There, it's fine. I can understand why they would be like, holy fuck, we need to upgrade the human species. But Talon, it sounds like they're trying to encourage an Omnic war, given that they assassinated Mondada, a major peace-speaky guy for the Omnics. Peace activist for the Omnics. They want this war. What is your end goal? Look, we know what the end goal for, like, Al-Qaeda was. They wanted Americans out of Iraq. I mean, out of Afghanistan.
Out of the Middle East, generally.
We know what ISIS wants. We know what... We even know, like... Okay, the Nazis aren't really terrorists, but, like...
Well, it's even so. It's, evil people.
The people who marched in Charlottesville, we know what they wanted. Boy, do we know what they wanted. The thing about being a terrorist organization is we have to know why you're doing shit so we can address things.
And there seems to be some obvious narrative routes they could go with that. I mean, I'm just taking a model off of the X-Men playbook, and you could have, the good guys, Overwatch, being the more tolerant group who wants to include Omnics as part of society. And then, in this case, to complete the analogy, you need the bad guys to be Omnics. But no, make them just... non-Omnics who hate Omnics because there was a war and they want to genocide Omnics out of existence, and Overwatch is like, no, Omnics can be good. They're not all evil. That war was just the plot of some bad guy who had, hacked the Omnics and made them evil temporarily.
Which, admittedly, there is, a hint in Sombra's origin story that there is a group that's in charge of Talon and that evil company I mentioned and Overwatch, and it's all linked together. But that's one hint out of, dozens of articles?
Yeah.
Dozens of films?
It's just this mention of, I'll find out who controls the world or something.
And then I'm going to be the one to control the world. Yeah, the world is kind of fucked if Sombra takes over, but still. So it's just vague, and we don't really know what Talon wants or why it wants it. But trust me, they want it. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about the characters. You switch
Oh,
over.
sure. Go to a list of characters here.
Okay, there's 25. Doomfist. He's apparently a high-ranking member of Talon, put in prison for years. Ironically, the first appearance of the Doomfist itself was in the theatrical trailer. But so many people liked the concept of the Doomfist and the man who can punch down a skyscraper that they were like, yeah, let's put this guy into Overwatch. So, yeah, he was in one of the recent comics. Genji. He and his brother Hanzo starred in the... What is it called?
The Two Dragons, whatever thing.
The Twin Dragons. It's probably the
It's just called Dragons, apparently.
Dragons, which is honestly like the first really good Overwatch short.
Well, I'd say the cinematic trailer.
Okay, that was good too. Okay, they're all good, but like really good, like next level good. I mean, I'm not saying the others are bad. It's just
Yeah, it's one of your favorites. Is what you're
okay.
saying.
Yes. So, one thing I forgot to mention: characters of Overwatch are kind of cliches. A lot of them. But it's like done in such a way that they're basically winking at the audience and going, yeah, we know these are cliche, but we go just far enough that you can have a ton of fun with them. For example, Genji and Hanzo are kind of that. Hanzo and Genji are the sons of a Yakuza boss. They're Japanese, and the video is about Hanzo returning to his family home after he was banished for dishonoring his clan by murdering his brother.
There's a lot of cliches in there.
Oh, I'm not... We're not even done yet.
I'm done yet.
And then, while he's busy, giving prayers over his brother's sign thing... I don't know if this is actually a thing in Japan, but there's like a sign and he's like saying, oh, I pray for forgiveness that I can redeem myself for killing my brother.
Yeah, I should know.
When his brother, who survived the assassination attempt all those years ago, has now come back as a green ninja cyborg. One of his alternate skins is literally a Super Sentai outfit. And their special attacks involve firing glowing dragons at each other. Their weapons are, for Genji, throwing stars and a katana, and Hanzo's is a bow and arrow. And yet it goes so far into cliche that I can't help but love it.
Yeah, they take it really seriously, They give it some depth.
Okay, Genji actually has ties to further back in Overwatch. After he was hurt, he became part of the Blackwatch group as part of Overwatch, and was around at the same time that the King's Row uprising happened. He was actually rebuilt by another Overwatch member named Mercy, aka Angela, who is basically a gender-bent and very much nicer version of the medic from Team Fortress.
Very much nicer.
He was... And there's actually some romantic chemistry between the two of them, so, Genji was also taught, here's how not to be really pissed off about the fact that you've been bisected by Zenyatta, who we'll get to later.
Okay.
McCree is another former member of the Blackwatch group. He is a cowboy with a cyborg arm, and he uses a revolver and dresses like all of the Western stereotypes.
Yes.
He starts his own special attack by saying, "It's high noon." And yes, every cowboy cliche, this guy has them. Funny story, his voice actor will sometimes say to his own team, "It's high noon," on voice chat when playing as McCree. Because the only people who can hear "It's high noon" in the game are the people who are on the opposite team. It plays something different if you're on the same team as the guy unleashing his ultimate.
Oh, really?
So everyone hears the voice of
Right.
McCree going, "You're all fucked, I'm doing my ultimate." And they all duck for cover. He is a troll. Farah is Egyptian. She is the daughter of Ana, a former member of the original Overwatch. She has a flying rocket suit with micro missiles and is apparently messed up emotionally because her life has been hell. Well, she was basically raised by the original Overwatch, and she was probably there when the base exploded. Everyone she knew either vanished or died, including her mother.
Yeah, there's a comic for her called Mission Statement, which showed it's about her learning to be less stone cold and treat her like soldiers like family, but man, she's learning that just by rote. Someone just like tells her you have to like treat people like family, and then like 2 panels later, she's like, "Hey guys, if we win the mission, I'll buy you dinner." They're like, "What? I will buy. Let's go." It's just like, you're not really feeling this, are you, Farrah? Like, come on.
Okay, next on the list is Reaper, a.k.a. Captain Edgelord. I already talked about him, but wow, I talked about him. I called him Captain Edgelord, and that really fits because he has a skull mask that he may or may not actually bolt to his face. He wears all black and leather. His ultimate involves him running around screaming, "Die, die, die," while firing shotguns in random directions. And his ability is to turn into a large cloud of black smoke made of nanomachines. I can't make this up. He's even more edgier than I am talking about.
I'm okay with them, but yeah.
Next is Soldier 76. Interesting side note from Blizzard. They basically designed Soldier 76 character based on first-person shooter games like Call of Duty or Halo, so that the play mechanic would be more familiar with him. He's essentially the Captain America type character, super patriotic and stuff.
He's a layer of grit on top of Captain America there.
It would be kind of cool to see them meet, you know.
Yeah, I was listening to, we were watching his origin video or whatever, and I just kept, like, subbing him in with other people. Like, yeah, Master Chief could say that, or when he goes on with, like, the war continued, and I just thought, war never changes.
That's Fallout.
Also, war has changed, because that one, and the second one there is Metal Gear. And it fits either way. It's a guy with a gravelly voice saying something about war.
Yeah, he was not dead by everyone after Overwatch was destroyed.
The thing about Overwatch, nobody ever dies.
That's
Ever.
actually like Mercy's tagline, "Heroes never die."
Yeah, no, seriously.
Except unless you're Widowmaker's husband, in which case you're fucking dead.
No, he'll be back after Jason Todd punches a wall.
Yeah.
In the style of Superboy Prime.
Yeah, Soldier 76's video was just confusing and annoying because he was like, "Well, they might call me a vigilante, but I'm a soldier." To which I immediately said, "No, you're a vigilante. If you were a soldier, you would be obeying a chain of command to an established government. No, you're not. If you were doing this for money, you'd be a mercenary, but you're neither of those things. You're a vigilante. And also, you're carrying around an automatic railgun that shoots missiles. Why is no one arresting you for that?"
Yeah, the legal situation is a bit odd.
No, they think you're dead. That kind of invalidates all legal things.
Well, that's what I said. It's a bit odd.
Yeah. Then there's Sombra, who is one of the new characters.
I swear, every time I hear the name Sombra, I think it's sombrero. And then I go, oh, wait, no, that's a different word.
There is a skin for Reaper where he does wear a sombrero.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which is absolutely amazing. I think putting sombreros on anyone is absolutely amazing, though. So, Sombra is a Spanish hacker who is a brat and kind of a bitch. And she's the smug know-it-all character that you really wonder how they managed to live this long in super dangerous professions without someone going, "Oh, I might be blackmailing you, but..." "Oh, look, looks like you're not blackmailing me anymore. Now, pardon me, could you remove all of your internal organs from my nice furniture? Thank you." Yeah, she's pretty much openly stated, "Yeah, I'm working for multiple sides here. I want to find out the truth behind the world." I don't like her. Next is Tracer. She's basically the mascot character of Overwatch.
I like her. I like that they used one character as a mascot instead of putting on the box 25 characters or 20, whatever they launched with.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't even see it if there was that many of them. So yeah.
I've actually seen group pictures of Overwatch, and yeah, it's pretty hard to see everyone. It's funny. So she was a test pilot up until they decided to create a teleporting plane. A teleporting plane. I don't really think you understand how planes work. Okay, maybe like something that could teleport a plane when it's on the ground? Maybe I could see that to like transport planes to aircraft carriers and stuff. Or if like a faster than light drive on a fighter.
Well,
fine.
I find that, I mean, it's actually similar to an FTL drive on a fighter. It's just
but you don't need an FTL drive on an atmosphere. Okay.
It's a thing that gets you faster where you're going, and I assume it takes time to recharge, so that's why you need a plane in the meantime.
Yeah, just, I don't know. It seems...
I guess it does sort of imply that they should have invented teleporters more generally by now.
I mean, they have teleporters. Multiple characters can set them up, but I don't know. And they really should have tested it more because it fucks up Lena Oxton a lot. It fucks her up so badly she actually becomes unstuck in time and becomes basically a ghost until Winston creates like this chronal accelerator she has to wear, otherwise she's incorporeal or vanishes for hours or days at a time.
I'd like to imagine she met Dr. Manhattan while she was bouncing around.
Shit, that's actually good.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, we should write a fanfic now.
Hello, I'm meeting Lena Oxton 30 seconds from now and 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at your watch, Dr. Manhattan? You don't have a... Oh, now you just made a watch. Oh, double reference there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's Bastion, who is an...
Oh, wait, even the name Overwatch, if you're, like, beyond time, you are over time somehow.
Watch. Bastion. Oh, my God. We'll get... Bastion is personally my favorite character because I like killer robots that have soft centers. We already talked about his thing, but currently he's traveling with Bastion, and we'll get to that comic in a bit.
Wait, he's traveling with Bastion?
He's traveling with Torbjorn.
Torbjorn.
Okay, next on the list is Hanzo. Then there's Junkrat. Junkrat and Roadhog live in the Outback, where the Omnics have basically taken over the country as part of like a treaty or something. So they're kind of pissed. He's an idiot. They're both idiots. God, do I love them. We saw they had an animation, and the only thing it was missing was da 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 da. That's all, folks. Da 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 da. I'm serious. It was basically a Looney Tunes cartoon. I loved it. Oh my God, I loved it.
Unabashed nonsense and mayhem and
yeah. And there's Mai, and she's the most recent...
Is it pronounced Mai or May?
May. Oh, I don't know. It's
probably in Mandarin or something, and I don't speak
I think
Mandarin.
it's May, maybe.
Right.
May. I'm going to call her May.
May, so...
May. She was part of a group of scientists who were in Antarctica looking up... Oh, God, this whole cinematic is just brain-hurting.
Do you have more details that explain some of what happened there from comics or something?
No.
Okay. Because I don't know what was... I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but there's missing a lot of detail and context.
And logic. Okay, so what happens in her special is just mind-melting in all of the ways it makes no goddamn sense. Okay, so she's at like this in Antarctica studying, global climate change and how that's a bad thing, apparently. Which it is. And her group decides, oh, okay, we're running low on supplies, so we're going to wait out this snowstorm that's coming by freezing ourselves in cryostasis. What follows is idiocy of the highest order, because they apparently didn't set a fucking alarm, so the next time they come out, it's 9 years later, and no one apparently thought, hey, can you guys send in some more food? So it's 9 years later. Everyone but May is dead.
Because all the tubes just break for some reason, except hers.
And they're down to their last, mostly dead, power cell. So May goes around, and she apparently doesn't notice that no one else is awake. Admittedly, when I wake up, I don't notice if anyone's awake or dead either. So okay, that's accurate.
Oh man, that's just a great comic. You waking up and then
that's the
walking
pilot
down
episode of Red Dwarf.
Just walk downstairs and there's like random bodies around. And you're just like, I gotta make coffee.
Yeah.
And then you just get the coffee and you're like, holy shit, all these dead people are around here.
That is literally the pilot episode of Red Dwarf.
That is.
I love that. Okay, so she finds out, oh my, all the sensors we left running for all this time have gathered all this information. It's like way more than it should have. How long have we been out? 9 years. So the robot assistant goes, 9 years. You didn't wake us up. At all.
It's not clear why they woke up now, even.
Well, apparently they got a signal. But here's the thing, as is later established. So she goes, what happened? Why weren't we reinforced? So they go, Snowball, the robot, shows all these articles that shows Overwatch, and the group was working for Overwatch as part of like this world health thing. I don't really know or care.
Apparently, yeah, they do that.
So he goes, okay, they were shut down. Here's all these news articles from when this was happening. And yet, the fact that they can't get a signal in or out of the base because the radar dish is broken is a major plot point of this whole thing. So where the fuck did Snowball get these? Is Snowball evil? Was Snowball like, yes, puny humans, you will be stuck here forever.
Forever.
I've been releasing chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere while you've been studying them. But that's the only thing that really makes... No, it doesn't. You make everything make sense. So May goes outside, and despite not being taken care of for 9 years, everything in the base is just pristine outside. I mean, like, oh, sure, there's, like, some weather damage, but all of this should be under 100 feet of snow at this point, because it's Antarctica. And they also left all of the vehicles outside in a snowstorm. Tell me what you told him about the Ross Amundsen station.
Yeah, well, they built a big ol' geodesic dome in Antarctica, which I was, geodesic domes are awesome, so it was neat to see one built on such a scale.
Oh, yeah,
And then I saw this documentary about how many fripping bulldozers they needed to keep clearing away the entrance because snow would keep piling up against the side because it would be blown from across the continent. And eventually they upgraded to entirely new buildings that are just built on stilts, so the snow blows under them. And that's like much easier than having the bulldozers work day and night.
Okay, so they need bulldozers for this. They've had that problem for years. But here, no fucking problem.
After 9 years, yeah.
The snow is flush with the doors.
Yeah.
Except for in the cockpit of, like, one of the vehicles they have, so...
Yeah, only that vehicle, and only on the inside of the vehicle did it snow.
Okay, so then she goes back inside and is like, oh shit, I need to get this... I need to find out what that message is so I can possibly communicate. I know, I'll fix that radar dish despite us receiving the signal, so the radar dish should be working, but I guess that's not a thing right now.
Also, apparently the signal's being retransmitted over and over, though I guess Winston would set it on automatic.
Yeah, so she decides, now, we're almost out of battery power, so I'll have to be careful with it. By inventing a freeze ray!
There's no backup way to signal the world, apparently.
Instead of, I don't know, using your free time to, instead of building like a cutting-edge science freeze ray out of a hairdryer, and I'm not kidding on that one, instead fixing one of the Jeeps and stuff and driving to somewhere?
Yeah, or, again, why did nobody... I mean, they mentioned missing a supply drop just before they go into cryo. Presumably, supply drops happen at a fairly regular pace. You'd think one of the suppliers would have been like, let's knock on the door. It's been 2 years since we've heard from them.
And they haven't brought in any of the supplies. It's just this mound of supplies. It's actually a flight hazard now.
That'd be a really dedicated supply company. We will keep supplying you whether you pay us or not. It's in the contract.
Okay. So instead of doing that, she instead built a freeze gun so she can freeze the antenna in place so that it'll work now.
She also, while climbing, she makes ice to climb on to get up to the top to where the thing is. But, you could have built yourself a ladder or something.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like instead of building a freeze ray, you could build a ladder or climbing gear. Like, seriously, do they not have climbing gear in this Antarctica research thing?
Yeah, you kind of want gear for everything. If
yeah.
You can,
I mean, hell.
It.
Okay, I mean, I understand the thing had them have flamethrowers down there. So I don't even know why they would need flamethrowers in Antarctica. There seems like something that's massively unnecessary.
If it's for when you just get cabin fever and you're really pissed off at snow and just go outside with the flamethrower, 10 minutes. Ah! Come back in. You feeling better? Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah, okay. Wait, so why don't they have a flamethrower there?
Yeah!
Use this to melt one. So they finally get the message. She finally gets the message, even though they received the message earlier. But now that we're higher up, I guess that somehow works.
Well, she fixes the thing while she's up there. But
Yeah.
yeah, she receives it more and watches it.
And goes, now I must take this climate information to the world.
I could save millions of lives. So I was like, from what? Like,
climate change?
I mean, yeah, I guess it was climate change, but from the way she was talking about it, it almost seemed like she was researching some other thing that was like really imminent and not this like over the next 100 years stuff will happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't just have one group studying climate change, right? You know,
Like,
we don't like have one group responsible for researching everything.
Like, and
related
there are
to climate.
satellites in orbit that are already taking temperature data, so it's not super necessary to get your guys' data.
Shouldn't we have like other groups working on this? I mean,
aren't there other people in Antarctica, for goodness
yeah,
sake?
there's like at least 5 that I know of.
Yeah.
So but before that, poor little Snowball, the possibly evil robot, decides to sacrifice, making the finger quotes here, its life to give the base enough power so that she can... What does she use the power for, exactly? Oh, wait, starting up her freeze gun. And she's like, oh, this is a great sacrifice. And then by the end of the video, she has, like, a solar cells rigged up so that she can recharge the robot.
Which begs the question why she didn't just use the solar cells to charge the base.
Yeah.
And then... I mean, they're really going for a heroic sacrifice there, but A, they undercut it by bringing him back, and B, used a method that could have been used in the first place. And C, even if that solar panel thing hadn't shown up, it's still a robot. You could bring it back any time you just get electricity. Ever.
And what's worse is, she decides that she's going to head back to civilization on foot. She's just never heard of Scott, has she?
Yeah.
Or all the other people who starved or froze to death in Antarctica trying to traverse it on foot.
I mean, now that you've got the dish working, just call for help?
Yeah, I mean...
she mentions, oh yeah, Overwatch runs this place, and, like, Overwatch got shut down, so I guess they can't help you. But, like, Winston is calling them back, and also, there are other people in Antarctica. Get them to send you a truck.
Or here's a thought. I mean, like, why didn't you do that? I don't think they operate on the cell network. They don't shut you out if you haven't paid your bills.
Yeah.
And, like, okay, sure, you could... Wait a second. Did the sun ever set? Because isn't this Wait, they had a sunset at one point, right?
No,
like,
did
they were at... Because she was climbing and it was the day, and then at night she was up there.
Oh god, she climbed for months.
This is Antarctica.
It was the
they have
world's
sunshine.
slowest climb.
Okay, I think we know why she's gonna get back to civilization, and the whole Overwatch crisis is gonna be over by now because she's a parrot. Okay, so she starts out in the day. She gets to the top of the thing. It's night. She gets back down and leaves. That's another day. So it's been 1.5 years since she woke up. Okay, I get that it's more dramatic, but you're really undercutting it by not knowing how Antarctica works.
No, wait, that makes sense all of a sudden. The reason why they didn't wake up for 9 years is because the computer's clock is set for sunrise as 1 day. And they're supposed to wake them up in 9 days or whatever. Dang it, who designed this thing?
Okay, well, enough about Mai and her very stupid video. Now on to Torbjorn.
Okay.
He is a dwarf. Literally, like a fantasy dwarf, but with, like, modern stuff. His backstory is actually kind of interesting, because he actually has a loving wife and 8 children.
Aww.
He's also one of the guys who invented the Omnics.
Oh, goodness.
So he feels a little bit of guilt about that. And his skill is he builds shit. He builds a turret. In fact, he's kind of infamous for being able to get play of the game without being without doing anything, because the turret will just kill people, even if he's not around. There are videos of Overwatch where the play of the game, which plays out from the point of view of the person who receives it, is Torbjorn staring at Widowmaker's butt while his kill count just steadily increases. Which brings me to he's had 2 comics dedicated to him thus far. One against a giant robot Omnic that's being run by one of his former colleagues who's trying to extort money or something. It's really stupid. The other is him meeting Bastion. And this is upsetting because it's really not put together well. this has the potential for... This is a guy who helped design Bastion's model of robot. This thing of... Bastion's grown beyond his programming. He loves nature, and he's deliberately avoiding humans so he doesn't hurt them. And yet, we have nothing. We have him running into Bastion going, darn, he didn't fall for my trap. And then he goes over and he's like, kill me! Do something, Bastion robot! Bastion's just like standing there like, hey buddy, you want to help me build this beaver dam? I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. He's actually doing that. Aww. Bastion is building a beaver dam. And Torbjorn's like, my god, you're different now. Even though I can't understand you, and it's been like literally 3 seconds since I've actually started talking to you. And I've carried this hatred of Omnix for years, but nope, I'm going to consider you a good guy now just because you didn't instantly murder me.
That's
Look, it's not
fast.
a good comic.
Yeah.
It's... I mean, when have we ever seen a story of someone being forced to confront their prejudice against someone who's committed so many crimes and killed people? Oh, wait. That episode of Deep Space Nine. What was it again?
In the Pale Moonlight?
No, the other one.
Sorry.
Duet, a.k.a. the best episode of Deep Space Nine ever, which turned a meeting between what is essentially a resistance leader and a manager of a Nazi death camp into something really impressive.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally named the wrong episode.
Yeah. Okay, so next on the list, Widowmaker, explained her deal already. Diva, explained her deal already. Orisa, hers is a little face palming. I mean, I like Orisa because she is a centaur Omnic who has a nice lady persona who wants to defend everyone. Which is awesome, because I like genuine hero types, not stupid anti-heroes and stuff. And she's a robot with a Gatling gun for an arm, so that's awesome. So her creator, Ify, was like, so the government of Numani created these robots that were basically Orisa, but with like the model numbers filed off. And they protected us, right up until Doomfist came and kicked all of their asses. Okay, that makes sense. So then I took one of the destroyed robots and I took it back to my house and I started rebuilding it. I have a question. I upgraded you, and then I improved her programming. Really, just the best minds of this only city on the planet where humans and Omnics live in harmony in programming and robot construction were just totally upstaged by an 11-year-old girl. Really, this is a thing.
Yeah.
And the only time she's shown up is her introduction video, which was all from the point of view of Ify, and she doesn't have a line until the end of the frickin' video. And is a cameo in the back of Zarya's comic. Reinhardt has a comic about him and how he's old, and he's kind of delusional at this point. Which is an awesome combination when you have rocket-propelled armor with energy shields and a rocket hammer. Because that is a good combination. He's the last of his knightly order. He may be traveling around with Torbjorn's daughter. I am not 100% sure on that detail, but the story was about how he's genuinely a good character. Very bombastic and, kind of Silver Agey.
Okay.
But, he's a good person, and it shows him beating up a gang called the Dragons. Which he imagines are literal dragons, and he's trying to slay them.
Well, so he's like an actually functional Don Quixote?
Don
Quixote?
Well, yeah. Except that I think if he attacked a windmill, the windmill would fucking die.
Yeah.
Okay, then Winston is next on the list because we are skipping Roadhog. Winston, okay, apparently in the Overwatch universe, there's cities on the moon. And they decided this is the place where we're going to give gorillas sapience. What do I need to say about that?
Sapient gorillas are going to question why they have to be in a microgravity environment all the time.
Yeah.
Is that microgravity or just low gravity?
Microgravity. Well, I think.
I mean, microgravity is what you call it when
What's
you're
the difference, actually?
Yeah, I think microgravity is really like you're in a space station and you're falling with the station, and therefore you experience only the gravity between the objects on that station, which is very, very small.
Yeah. Anyways, so he's been Overwatch's guy for years and years, and he's the one who called everyone back.
Because the monkeys had a uprising. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, the apes.
The apes had an uprising on the moon and killed off all the humans. Winston was like one of the few survivors because he sided with the humans, and they got back to Earth. And he wears his
uprising, kill off all the whatevers.
Yeah, that's one of my. Seriously, Overwatch, you have the potential for an invasion of moon gorillas. Why have you not made this yet? Oh, there could be robots. Fuck you, moon gorillas in power armor. Moon gorillas in power armor are coming to invade. Why is this story not about that? And there's Zarya, who's female heavy weapons guy. Her comic is basically her being a giant dick to everyone.
Oh, man.
In the end of Sombra's video, Sombra is blackmailing like one of the chancellors of the Russia People Place thing. And so the Russia People Place thing chancellor sends out Zarya to go hunt down and kill Sombra. So she does this by literally knocking on the doors of every... She goes to a city and starts knocking on everyone's door and going, "Have you seen this lady?" This actually eventually works, but she teams up with a very sassy Omnic to accomplish it. And it's basically her learning, well, not really so much, I need to be more open-minded as, I need to be less of a bitch.
Okay.
She kind of says, "You're all right, Omnic. I don't like you, but, you're okay." Ana, we talked about. Lucio, he's actually tied into Symmetra. Actually, we talked about that.
I was going to say with Ana, I hear the neat little gameplay thing is that when she shoots her enemies, naturally they take damage, but she can just shoot her allies and they get healed.
Yeah,
it's like a subtle nod to her role as a mother. Because she's like a healer.
Actually, it's because she shoots like nanite bullets and like with like IFF tags. So if she shoots them, they like act as healing nanites. If she shoots the bad guys, then they turn into the flesh-eating nanite types.
Ah.
Okay, then there's Mercy, aka Angela. She's been part of the original Overwatch.
She's an angel. Her name is Angela.
Yeah, she literally has... Her outfit is that she has angel wings and actually some of the really cool costumes, as well as some of the sluttier costumes, unfortunately.
Oh, boy.
Symmetra, we already covered. Mercy is the healer, by the way. She's the one who helped out Genji earlier, blah, blah, blah. Then Zenyatta, who is one of my favorite characters because he is a literal robot monk. He is a monk who is a robot and is trying to prove that he has a soul and is trying to spread peace and love through the world. He is a support character. I love him so. Although my personal favorite interpretation is Sassy Zenyatta. There is literally a Tumblr account that draws Sassy Zenyatta, where he's basically trying to be like the good monk type person, and then he will snap out to be really sassy about stuff. Like Genji going, "Go away, Omnic. Leave me alone. You will not understand my pain." Right, of course. What would an Omnic know about people constantly thinking you're less than human and trying to prove to everyone that you have a soul? Clearly, I understand nothing.
Yeah,
I'm afraid to show my face, Master. Okay, Genji, I want you to see something. He covers his face. Master, I don't... No, this is amazing. Watch. And since he's a robot, he has no moving parts in his face. He opens his face. "This is my happy face." Hides his face again. Opens him. "This is my sad face." This is a bunch of Omnics are going to start judging you for not showing your face. Okay, I think I get it, Master. Good boy, Genji. Again, that's not canon, but I love it so much because it just subverts the whole normal stereotype you have of monks, which he completely lives up to.
Yeah, I love seeing when the fans coalesce on cool ideas like that. Like I hear this idea of Dad 76.
Yeah,
where he gets
Soldier 76 is treats everyone like he's their old grumpy dad.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So, but for all that we complained, the setting has a lot of potential. There's a lot of stories that can be told with these characters. My difficulty just comes from inconsistent pacing. The fact that they don't really seem to want to expand on some of the more interesting parts of the lore, and that they're not really willing to move forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like somebody new came to the scene to compete with DC and Marvel. Which, okay, there already are, like, Vertigo and stuff out
independent
there.
companies.
It's like somebody invented a whole new comics universe. that feels enough like the old school stuff to be familiar, and yet feels new enough to be like, hey, I haven't seen these stories before, which is the definition of new. So it's just waiting to be developed further, and you can see the lack of development and then some cracks in the process there of things not being as thought out as we might like. A lot of it comes from they're just trying to make really unique characters, first off visually, so you can recognize them on the playing field.
Well, I wouldn't say unique, considering what I said about how a lot of them are cliches.
No, but distinguished from each other.
Oh, okay.
You see, so you want the players to feel like they really have a choice when they're picking which person to be, and that's great. But it leads to kind of what you were saying about characters being disconnected from each other because they weren't imagined on one group that are like I can know how everybody feels about everybody else when they've had time to interact. The only interaction they hardly seem to get is in the game when they're just shooting each other.
And as we said, that's not canon.
And that's not actually the story. I mean, the story is that Reaper is suddenly on Winston's side with two other Winstons, and they're fighting an army of tracers for some reason. Write that down. Yeah, okay.
Next fan fiction idea. There is actually a comic about that online. I mean, it's by AWNN. Yeah, go look them up. They do some pretty funny and awesome shit. But it basically says canon and this game do not match up because it's like everyone's yelling, Reaper, why the hell are you fighting with us? Well, see, normally I'd be trying to kill all of you because I'm Reaper, and I have made it my life's goal to destroy you guys. But there's one thing that I hate more than Overwatch, and that's the blue team. Fuck the blue team!
And then the next panel, I hope, is him on the blue team, because it's another round.
No, it's everyone agreeing. Yeah, you did, destroy my father's glasses, and you have tried to murder us all, but fuck the blue team!
Oh, no. The Smash panel after that should be the guys from Red versus Blue just going like, yep, sounds good to me. Or specifically the guys from the Red team, of course.
Yeah. Okay. One thing I really do like about this universe is, okay, now there are some universes in superheroes that do try to do this, but they try to make it make sense. Like, all the wacky shit comes from one place. The MCU used to do this, and then they came out with Doctor Strange, which reveals that magic is a thing.
Oh, yeah, in the movies.
But, all the advanced technology on Earth was descended from Asgardian technology via the Infinity Stone.
We're talking about a meta origin there, yeah.
Yeah, there's just one weird thing that makes it different, where all the technology comes from. And this is just, Overwatch is, this is all technology that comes from this one source, just modern technology. We just built it up over the next 100 years or so when this takes place. Worm, in a sense, is like this in that all the powers and abilities come from one source, and there's no but this guy's an alien and this guy is
time traveler.
Okay, well, actually, Tracer is a time traveler, sort of.
Well, not in the traditional sense. Well, it's not from the far future or something. But
the time traveler's wife has something similar to that. So.
Well, that's true. That is a good book.
Yeah. I don't know about the movie, but anyways. But you see what I mean? It's not there's magic and aliens and all this weird shit. It's just, these are all technological abilities for the most part.
I think you're talking, what you're getting at more broadly is this idea of thinking out the characters in relation to each other, whether that be in the sense of their origins and where their powers come from, or in the sense of what are they all doing in general. We've been talking about how vague it's been, what Talon's up to, and who's fighting them, and is anybody fighting them, and did they get rallied again after Winston's call, or did only Tracer and May pick that up? And just they don't again feel much need to think that out when it's a game and not a comic,
which really stinks because I want to know, what is Talon's end goal? Why are we fighting them? Why is that evil corporation being evil? I mean, it's not really that they're, from what we see of them, they're shady. They're definitely not doing good things, but I'd hesitate to call them evil.
Yeah, qualify the statement for me earlier. When you said they were blowing up buildings, In what way are we talking? Like, bought some stuff out and did controlled demolitions, or just nuked stuff they didn't like?
In between those two.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's
Like,
pretty
did
shady.
sabotage work to make it more damaged so that the government would be like, oh, okay, well, now this is more damage, now we have a greater need for this stuff, and you have the best bid, so let's bring you in. Like, it's still super shady, but I'd hesitate to call them...
Well, there's
It's like
certain,
cyberpunk version of
Yeah,
evil,
yeah,
rather than
cyberpunk
Cobra
evil.
Commander type of evil.
Okay.
It's like, okay, now our corporate agents will be able to do this and this, which will enable us to get greater profits over here. Whereas Cobra, it's like, now I have a cheese ray that I will use to turn the Andes Mountains into Swiss!
Wow, yeah.
That would not be the weirdest thing Cobra has done.
Wow. I've not seen enough G.I. Joe, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't either. I still know that's not the weirdest shit they've done. Like the time they tried to steal Alaska. I'm not kidding. That was a thing. They found a loophole in the contract that allowed the Russians to sell Alaska to America that was based on whoever owns this one stupid cup then owns Alaska. So they got a guy with a cup that looks like that cup and put him in charge of Alaska because of this stupid rule. No one opposed them, and that is why for a brief period of time in the G.I. Joe universe, a used car salesman turned Alaska into a dictatorship. So, because of this, G.I. Joe went to find the real cup, which was lost at sea a long time ago. And they find a colony of Russians who are the descendants of the ones who were taking the cup to Alaska, who have somehow survived in the Arctic for over 100 years, while also fighting off Cobra and the Russian version of G.I. Joe, the October Guard.
Oh, there's Russian good guys in G.I. Joe now?
There's Russian... The October Guard are like G.I. Joe. They're a special forces group meant to combat Cobra.
Oh, I see.
But they're just as big of dicks as...
I see. Mutual enemy type
Well,
thing.
I mean, they don't like Cobra, but at the same time, this was the Cold War, so we had to have them be bad-ish and make them lose to G.I. Joe because America! Anyways, where were we before I got onto Cobra?
Figuring out what the villains are up to
right,
and the general coherency of the world.
Yeah, we don't really know what the... Okay, so we have, like, 5 evil characters. Okay, technically 7 if you include Junkrat and the other guy. Roadhog. And they're just more of, we do shit for money.
Yeah,
and
I don't think they actually answer to Reaper.
They don't. They're their own... They do their own
I'm
thing.
not even sure if Reaper himself has a boss or what.
He's part of Talon.
Is there anybody in charge of Talon ever?
They have like this group meeting thing that they showed it at the end of Doomfist's introductory comic. He's part of the advisory council. Same with Reaper.
So it's a democracy.
Sort
what do you
of,
know? A democratic terrorist organization.
But see, here's the problem with that. Just before that, they had, well, like I said, they have Doomfist kill that guy because he was doing this for money. He was trying to make Talon...
Doomfist can just walk in and kill these people, apparently.
No, he was outside alone and he threw him off a thing. But, like, again, if you're not doing this for money, why are you doing this? We don't get any explanation. You have to have a reason to do something. You can't just come out of nowhere and say, "Hi, I'm Bob Evil. I'm here to blow up the world." Okay, you can.
But then you gotta establish that guy's character as the type who just really wants to blow up the world for some reason.
Yeah, like, okay, the Joker. The Joker in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
He was stated as the kind of guy who likes to watch the world burn. Cobra and G.I. Joe. They would blow up mountains and shit for no real reason other than we're evil. Wile E. Coyote, he would basically renovate the entire landscape because he wants to eat this bird. When, if you can buy all this shit, why not just buy takeout forever? Fine. But those are all very silly examples. Those are examples that you don't have to have much explanation other than, well, they're evil or they're trying to do this one thing. And they're very simplistic in that manner. Fine. But those are like kids' cartoons. Overwatch is trying to bill itself as a little more serious.
I feel if I was coming up with what to do with this, I would have Doomfist as the guy who just wants to be the ultimate fighter, and he probably wouldn't even be a member of Talon then. He would just be finding the most powerful people he can find and defeating them one at a time because that's his ultimate goal, is to be the number one.
Yeah, I mean, like, that would actually work rather well. I mean, if he's a social Darwinist, I can totally imagine him selling out his services for strong fights to make himself stronger and improve his humanness. Like, so he could work with Talon, he could work with the Junkers, he could work with that company.
Yeah, so long as they can guarantee that he'll fight somebody that's on his list. Like, he'll work with them, in a temporary capacity or whatever. And then, I mean, hey, if we're already in the brainstorming route, let's see. What's Reaper up to? Maybe... Well, I said earlier that maybe our bad guys want to, like, kill all robots if they're pissed off about that.
Except that they have an Omnic in their board of directors or whatever.
So that would be... Well, then change that if we were up to it. Reaper is death-themed, so he'd be the most obvious one to give to the... He wants to kill everybody for some reason.
Or he just wants revenge on Overwatch for perceived crimes, which that's kind of my MO for trying to decide how Reaper does things. Even though it's not really how he does things, like his character's a little more complex than that, but honestly, the way he's portrayed a lot of the time in the cinematics and stuff, he just seems like, oh, I'm so angry at Overwatch for not making me the leader all those years ago.
That's a lame thing.
Exactly, which is why I don't really respect him. In fact, one of his calls as he's activating his ultimate is, this is how it should have been, before he starts murdering everyone. So,
how it should have been is me as your leader murdering all of you. That's why we didn't put you in charge, Reaper.
In fact, that's actually one of the reasons why he doesn't like Jack, because Jack got all the credit, although there was a Manly Guys Doing Manly Thing comic that made fun of that, where Reaper was like, "Gah, how did they pick you as leader of Overwatch instead of me?" Jack goes, you think it might have something to do with the way that you present yourself? And it shows a picture of Reaper scowling at the camera and pulling back the barrel on a pistol, and he's like, "Grrr." This is your picture in the company phone directory. Do you see how this might seem unapproachable to some people? If by unapproachable you mean frickin' sweet, then yeah! See, the problem is, okay, he's jealous. He was jealous all those years ago. Fine. But for his hatred to have sustained him so much that... Okay, it's entirely possible that Reaper's insane, just because... I don't even know if he's technically alive anymore, because the closest I can think of is Nanite Swarm, which would explain why he can turn into a cloud of smoke and stuff. But he's actually the closest thing to magic you can get in this game, other than, well, the dragon things of Hanzo and Genji.
Yeah.
I don't really understand those either, so who knows? But his character is just all over the place. We want to take him seriously, but the closest thing we get to characterization is that he has this massive grudge on Overwatch because they didn't make him boss, and he got the blame when everything under his command turned to shit.
Like, here's a simple idea. He had a family or something that he loved, and they ended up getting killed in the middle of the Omni Crisis, and he thought Overwatch could have done Omnic Crisis. And he thought Overwatch could have done a better job of that, so, he's pissed at the death of everybody. He makes himself all death-themed, and he wants to kill off Omnics and also Overwatch, who he feels is sort of false heroes that failed him. And he was partially behind the plot to discredit Overwatch, because, again, he hates them.
Okay, that could work. Especially if, he was part of Overwatch himself and saw them as, not going far enough to stop the Omnic Crisis. Like, them seeing, a group of Omnics heading towards a civilian population center and being like, okay, we have to ignore those for now. And him focusing on, they're going to attack the city, instead of, yeah, but we're going to be dropping a bomb inside of this thing that makes more Omnics. So yes, we'll be leaving them be for now, but it's to hit this much more important target and end the war sooner.
An even better way to do it is to have him have the big dispute right at the beginning, when it's not clear if the Omnics are really our foes or not. and he's saying like, no, we can't trust the Omnics. We need to like a preemptive strike. We need to start attacking them right now. And the other Overwatch guys, they're more goody two shoes, and they're like, no, it's fine. We'll try to make a peace with them. There's just been some talk recently of war, but we'll just try and be nice about it instead. And then the Omnics launch a surprise attack. And then Reaper goes to the end of his days thinking, A, Overwatch sucks, but B, you really have to assume the worst of people. Right? And that would feed right into his villainous type of mode.
Oh, that could also work into him being kind of an ally of Torbjorn, at least at first.
Yeah, no, Torbjorn could totally
because one of Torbjorn's things is Omnics aren't people; they're just robots, and they're gonna kill us all.
And then
I know I built them.
So Reaper could meet up with Torbjorn, initially hate Torbjorn. And then Torbjorn could maybe convince him, look, I know I've screwed up. Help me to kill off the Omnics to prevent the possibility of another uprising. So then he helps him for a while. But then eventually Torbjorn meets Bastion. And Bastion helps convince him that, never mind, some Omnics are good. So Torbjorn betrays Reaper at that point to join the good guys.
It would have to be over like a long period of time.
long period of time.
And, what might work is like Torbjorn doesn't really hate the Omnics.
Oh yeah.
Like he doesn't like them, but he doesn't go, okay, we need to torture this Omnic. Like someone suggests that and he just smacks him over the head like, it's a robot.
Yes.
This is like hating a cockroach.
It's a very different cold sort of hatred. Yeah.
No, it's like this is just a problem that needs fixing. It's not something that it's like you can hate. It's
well,
like
okay,
hating
he could hate himself for creating it, though. There has to be a lot of powerful emotion when these Omnics have apparently killed, I guess, like 1 million people at least.
Millions at least.
Millions, yeah. So there's got to be a lot of feeling behind it, even if he also thinks, yeah, they're just robots. They're robots that freaking do things.
But like over the years, he's like seen Omnics actually being human, so he might harbor doubts, and that could lead to him finally accepting Bastion, because Omnics pretending to be people, getting into relationships with humans, fine. You could argue that that's, part of their secret infiltration plan. Bastion is just building beaver dams.
Yeah.
He's building beaver dams and bird nests. Hell, do you want to know Bastion's real story? He's Wally with guns. Bastion is the child of Wally and Eve.
Woo!
Who went into the military.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no, building a beaver dam, that shows you something, especially when you can figure out the Bastion's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, there is no benefit to the Omnics, helping to preserve nature.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not being watched.
Yeah.
Like, you could preserve nature so that humans think, oh, they're not so bad, and then meanwhile you're just going, they think we care about nature. Because, they're robots. They don't really need oxygen or water.
No, they don't. Yeah, see, and then we start, connecting other people into this.
Widowmaker would still be part of Talon because, her backstory is... You don't really need to change her backstory.
Well, if we're going to keep the whole being brainwashed thing, could obviously be something to angst over. And, was she brainwashed by Talon? Or by,
yes.
Okay, by someone. So then she could, potentially change. Though it'd be an interesting, way to subvert audience expectations. If she finds out she was brainwashed and then decides to stick with them anyway for some reason.
I like that idea better because there's so many stories that go, oh, I was fighting for the wrong people the whole time, I'll switch sides now. Which, okay, I like redemption stories, but at the same time...
Not everybody gets redeemed.
Not everyone gets redeemed. Not everyone wants to be redeemed. Want a good example of this? Lord Shen, Kung Fu Panda 2. Arguably one of the strongest villains in animated fiction.
He was strong.
He openly had an opportunity to redeem himself, and he rejected it.
That's a good thought. Yeah, now I'm thinking of, if Tracer finds out... Oh, wait, Tracer already moves through time. So, imagining if, on rare occasions, she moves, years into the past or whatever, and finds pieces of information that way, or views the past, at least. Maybe that gets her clues as to Widowmaker's past, and she eventually uncovers more of it and sets up this whole thing. So just reveal to Widowmaker, you were brainwashed. And she's honestly expecting Widowmaker to switch sides, and then Widowmaker doesn't. And it becomes oh shit, and Tracer has to get the hell out of there.
Oh, no. Mon Dieu, I have been controlled. And then Tracer turns her back, and then there's a gunshot. And then Tracer just staring down at her stomach and like the hole that all the way through. It's not like, there's just like it's not like it's the size of a basketball. It's just a bullet hole.
But still, a bullet is harmful.
Don't you think that I have not known this for years? I like who I am now.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tracer just fades out of existence. And then, like, reappears, like, in an Overwatch base, because that's where she left from. Yeah. And just, like, Mercy and the rest are just trying to save her life and get her chronal accelerator back online.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, if Tracer could be like, but I was trying to tell you the truth. I was hoping you'd switch to our side. And Widowmaker just said, after a history like I've been through, I'm quite tired of being manipulated. You're like, oh, damn it. Suddenly we're the villains even more in her eyes. Okay, so that's cool. Let's see. Can we make May make sense?
Just make her story make sense. Like, instead of getting a weak signal, it's the batteries are nearly out. So it wakes her.
Oh yeah, it automatically wakes people up at near death battery or.
And then like all those news articles and stuff are from before the radio tower got damaged, which I guess could be an explanation for how that happened in the movie, but it wasn't made explicit. So.
So, let's see. I mean, you could also do. Because I'm going to play with the idea that she was asleep for 9 years and wakes up to a different world, right? Obviously, if she had a more idealistic outlook, that would be challenged by waking up to, oh crap, everything fell apart. Which I think they kind of hinted at the movie we saw, but you could get into that more deeply. You could change it further and make it into a story of going into cryo on purpose, knowing that it would be a long time. A story of somebody who was injured, and the nanites will take you years to repair, but will freeze you in the meantime, and the nanites don't freeze. You'll wake up to a better world, and I'll be right here at your side, honey. And she wakes up, and her husband, I guess, is not there. Whatever I just made up, and it's like, oh, shit went down, and that was so tragic. Wow, it made me a lot more tragic.
Yeah, which is actually kind of better. So. Okay, so Genji and Hanzo, I guess their backstory could still be the same. I mean, it's Genji was brought back into Genji could be brought back into Overwatch via Angela, because in the Christmas comic it showed that Genji and Angela are sending letters to one another.
Okay.
And since Angela is, a well-known doctor and a former member of the original Overwatch, Winston could have reached her just by his signal thing.
Right.
So she would bring in Genji because, Genji is a cyborg assassin robot.
Mm-hmm.
Cyborg robot assassin.
Whatever.
Cyborg ninja assassin. And he would bring Zenyatta with him, who would have his own reason for doing things after Widowmaker assassinated Mandata.
Right, yeah, because Zenyatta perhaps had been offered, I don't know if Overwatch was active at the time, but had been offered to take a more militant role in some capacity. And he thought, no, it's fine, I'm a monk, we'll just do things peacefully. And then his master gets assassinated. And he's like, you know what, maybe a little more violence is necessary.
There was like a comic
that not everyone has to be a fighter, though. You could have an interesting character who really is just like a monk, and people come to him for advice for sometimes,
There was a comic that I saw dubbed, and, it ended funny, but it was like an Omnic thug was like menacing this low-ranking human gang member, and Zenyatta is like, please do not do that. And so the Omnic thug goes up to him, what, you think you can... Buddy, either you take his licks or get the hell out of here. He said, I don't want to fight you. So the Omnic thug grabs Zenyatta and gets roundhouse kicked in the face. Zenyatta then goes, I'm sorry, you must have misunderstood me. I do not wish to fight you just means I don't want to fight you. It doesn't mean I can't fight you.
Yeah.
And then it ended funny because the Omnic thug was talking to his human wife and saying, honey, I think I have a crush on another Omnic. Well, invite him over sometime. Okay,
Yay for polyamory. Anyway.
aside from that last bit, that could be a good characteristic for him. He doesn't like to fight. He might not want to fight, but he can fight, and he knows that sometimes even the best of intentioned people must resort to things they do not like to do.
You know, I'd like to see him every time he's done a fight. Afterwards, he has to do like this purification ritual, and he like says a little prayer about how I know fighting is never the best solution, but it was the best I could come up with at the time. You know, like he's dedicated to the ideal of nonviolence.
I think it would be.
He knows that like he. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I have a fighter who's actually good at fighting, who sees fighting itself as a flaw, because an ultimately wise being would always find a peaceful way. I kind of like that.
I think instead of like, okay, a little meditation after that, but like for each person he kills, he and Genji would like pray over the names of those he killed.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the green guy from Mass Effect, Jesus Christ, son is Koliet. Thane would pray for every person he killed.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was technically guiltless.
Was he?
It was the way that his assassination thing worked. The mind and the body do different things in his religion. So, like, it's possible for the body to kill people, but the mind to still be innocent.
Oh. That's an interesting religion he's got there. All right.
Well, it's partially due to, like, this... It's cultural. I liked Mass Effect that it would go into, like, the most minuscule details.
Yeah, I'd like to explore things like that. Look at our list here. Here's McCree. Now, why is a guy dressed up in super cowboy mode? If anything, it would be like a statement for the old way things used to be before we invented robots. And yet he's a robot arm himself. Could just be a stylistic choice at this point. We mentioned earlier Winston's call to rally Overwatch again. We should probably be more specific, as we've been complaining about this whole video, as to what they're rallying against.
Okay, so Talon...
Talon needs a leader, I think. We want to put Reaper in charge, or should we invent somebody?
Let's invent someone.
All right.
Let's... Okay, I'm pulling in stuff from other universes now, but...
Good by me.
Okay, I'm thinking Exalt.
Exalt.
They're from XCOM Enemy Within.
Okay.
It's the expansion pack for XCOM Enemy Unknown, the new version of XCOM. And basically, they're a human group. They're a human group who either are working with aliens or are trying to develop their own version of alien technology and are trying to sabotage XCOM so that they can usurp the alien invasion for their own ends. Because we all like a good shadowy conspiracy. This group, Talon, has been around for a long time. Long time. Like way before Overwatch was ever formed.
Like hundreds of years, that type of thing?
Yeah, if not thousands, just because...
Alright.
Like it might get back to Roman days or something.
That'd be pretty cool. Get some time travel in there while we visit them.
Then they've had this goal to guide the world along the true path, the golden path.
Ooh.
And their leader might be someone like the King of Persia from 300.
From 300, okay.
It might look like
I was
that.
like, who is the King of Persia? Do we still have a Persia?
Like, so he would be like in gold, dressed up in gold. He'd be bald, kind of bronzed skin, kind of like Doomfist. Maybe Doomfist is this guy's son.
Oh, wow.
Like maybe an illegitimate son, but like that would be kind of cool to subvert the whole father-son trope. Just like in every way. Because it's like usually it's like, I am your father. No! Or, you are my father. You abandoned me. Yes, I did. You were my father. Yay, we love each other. No, it's just like, oh yeah, I banged your mom once. Oh, okay. That's nice.
Shrug.
So, are we going to fight now, or what are we doing here? Oh, I don't know. So, don't fuck these people, because that would be inbreeding. Oh, okay.
Oh, gosh. Wait. So we're dealing with this basically this leader guy wants to like rule the world. Perhaps from the shadows, or is he been working? Okay, so he
wants to rule
shadowy gold guy.
I mean, he wants to
It's a
rule from the
contrast.
shadows, but there's no. But if you got it, flaunt it, baby.
Well, he flaunts it to the inner sanctum who gets to know about these things, I suppose.
Yes, he is the golden path, just like his predecessor was the golden path, and his
I wonder if we have predecessors, or are we dealing with like an immortal guy? Because that
Okay, actually, immortal guy might actually.
or like pseudo immortal via soul transfer to new body guy. If you take the
I don't
Darth
know.
Bane route.
Well, immortality kind of suggests a magic aspect to it.
You want to keep it all technical again?
Well, I'd like to keep it technical because that's kind of Overwatch's thing. And sure, we could go the aliens route, but that seems like a cop-out, personally.
Okay.
I mean, unless we wanted to
So,
make this a
yeah.
crossover with XCOM, which, let's be frank here, I would be okay with.
Right.
Because XCOM is awesome.
Well, I don't know enough about XCOM to brainstorm it with you right now.
Okay,
So maybe he's not actually immortal because we don't do magic, but there's a line of predecessors, the secret kings of Earth. That's a nice phrase.
Secret Kings of Earth, ruled by the Golden Path.
Ruled by the Golden Path. All right.
The Golden Path is the name of their leader. The Secret Kings are like the inner circle.
Oh, okay. Huh.
But even though each
Yeah,
king,
wait, you could
each
spend
king
a-
is a ruler, each king must walk the path.
That'd be neat if you'd spend half the story implying that the Golden Path is their philosophy, and it turns out to be a guy, and he's got, like, powers or something. Like, oh, crap. I thought this was a metaphor. Like, he who he who strays from the Golden Path shall be, engulfed in the flames of his...
Shall be pimp slapped by the Doomfist. Which, okay, that might actually explain why, Doomfist actually feels the way he does. He's all about social Darwinism. The weak must be culled from the herd.
So he got that from his
the
dad.
fact that his dad is literally a golden god.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, now this Golden Path, this specific Golden Path guy probably needs his own name.
No, that's his name. The Golden
Well,
Path. They give up their names to become.
Yeah.
It's symbolic of you are giving up your identity to assume the mantle of the leader of humanity.
That is true.
Because you are greater than the sum of your... Humanity is greater than the sum of its parts, so you must give up your parts to become the gold.
How do they choose the successors? Are we doing like the kings maybe fight amongst each other type of thing? Or you get chosen by the previous guy?
I was thinking it would be kind of like the Dalai Lama.
So that's kind of like the kings choose who is the new reincarnation. So we're doing the reincarnation assumption.
Well, I mean, it might not actually be reincarnation, but like...
Well, the Dalai Lama runs on that, so...
Okay, well, sort of, kind of, a little. Maybe like that far, but no further.
I wonder... I'm taking an idea from Nerd Fighters here, and I'm making it backwards. Or from Vlogbrothers, whatever. They once had an ethical debate whether it was okay to go back in time and, like, murder evil people while they were still young before they'd done anything evil. And they're like, you know what we should do? We should just kidnap them from time and take them to the Evil Baby Orphanage where they can be raised by nice, loving families. And now I'm suddenly thinking of Evil Baby Orphanage for the actual purpose of raising evil people. Imagine if throughout history they find they find kids who they think have talent or whatever, and they take them to their underground lairs and whatever, and whichever one's shown the most promise.
Oh, kind of like how Haley Circus did for the Court of Owls.
Yeah, like that.
I don't like that that's a retcon. I always liked Haley Circus as being a family-friendly thing.
Yeah, I like that too.
But still, it works in this particular scenario.
Right. So all throughout history, some of the kids that have gone missing weren't just like lost and eaten by wolves or something. They were like taken by this.
But it wasn't really noticed because they're kids, and this was like the era where we're still learning that poop is not good to store in drinking water.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, another kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
So throughout history, if the Golden Path is the name of the leader, what's the name of the whole organization?
Still Talon.
Wait. Well, I thought we were taking Talon. Well, I guess, but they call themselves Talon the whole time. Yeah, I guess.
Maybe Talon is like the most recent version of the group.
Yeah, because that does sound slightly different than their normal branding. It'd be like, the Golden Path people is like the man behind the man, as it were.
Mm-hmm. And then like different corporate leaders, kind of like a Illuminati-ish type thing.
Yeah, we are going for an Illuminati vibe here, but I like that.
And over the years, they've like secretly sabotaged various attempts to get the war. Like they believe in the same sort of philosophy that Doomfist does, except they believe it on the level of societies.
Right. They want nations to go to war with each other periodically so the strongest will survive.
Right, where Doomfist is just, I want to go to war with everyone, with nations, so that I will survive.
All right, that's cool.
Okay, Luxembourg, come at me, bro! We shall send out our mightiest fighters. It's like a little granny comes out.
No.
We don't have good fighters. Doomfist is just like, I actually feel bad about doing this. Can I fight someone else? Can I fight anyone else?
I can imagine Doomfist in any sort of combat situation would totally ignore the weaker fighters and go straight for the strongest guy in the field. Because that's like the only honorable thing in his mind, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like not worth his time to like bother with smaller creatures. Okay, so they've been fomenting war back and forth through the centuries. That's cool.
So the Omnics would have been... This is where the Omnic Uprising came from.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that they put a virus in the programming. It was that they've been...
More like socially manipulating.
Yeah, like saying, hey, these flesh creatures don't need you. You don't need them.
Yeah.
But their purpose for the Omnics would be... Okay, this is another force for humanity to test itself against.
So they're not even necessarily aligned with the idea of humanity over machine. It's like sapience in general, the strongest must survive type of feeling.
Mm-hmm. And that could also be what happened on the moon with the gorillas.
Oh, right.
They had agents ferment rebellion there.
Yeah,
Heck,
yeah.
they could still have gorillas on the moon who are agents of the Golden Path.
Yeah. Let's not have all the gorillas die out. Let's have.
I don't think they did die out.
Oh,
There's
I thought you said Winston was the only survivor.
Only survivor of the people who managed to escape. Only gorilla survivor. Wait, hang on. Winston was the only gorilla on the human side, I meant.
Oh. So
and there weren't a lot of survivors of that.
There's a whole gorilla town still on the moon?
I'm trying to put the words into order. There is hintings and evidence that there is still stuff going on the surface of the moon from what few sensors remain that we have access to. That's not from our Golden Path storyline.
Right, yeah.
That's from
the canon.
actual Overwatch canon in one of the news articles. However, I think that's just setting up for something in the future, so I don't really know. But if it gives us an invasion of moon gorillas, I think I'm okay with that.
Right. And then feeding back into the idea where they kidnap kids into their thing, they send societies to war with each other, and the ones that win, they tend to kidnap more from the winners out of a evolutionist perspective, you know?
Well,
So although they get the various groups that get, you know, stronger and win via conflict and whatever, they also have the Golden Path people are keeping the very cream of the crop for themselves, as they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always, the ones who are really in control.
Yeah, and they don't like Overwatch, and I'm taking this straight from Young Justice. They don't like Overwatch because they had these plans for this war. Unfortunately, this was when Overwatch was founded because, well, okay, there's always been people who rise up and try to fight, but it's a small group of individuals, not one of these nations, not one of the people they're playing with.
They seemed too independent for the Golden Path's taste, huh?
Yeah, they would have eventually... They have, like... Jeez, I can't remember what it's called, but there's this series... It's a science fiction series where the Empire of Humanity is about to collapse, and one guy's solution for it is to create an encyclopedia. I'm serious, because of this predictive math that predicts the future, and he figures if I can create a second empire over here, whose goal is to catalog all this knowledge, eventually it'll grow into a successful empire and be able to make sure that humanity survives. So they kind of have some predictive math that can predict the future.
Yeah.
But it gets inaccurate over like a certain... It's only accurate within like a certain...
Within certain limits. Whatever those limits are. With
Like,
temporal or
if it's too
detail.
close to the present, then it starts getting wibbly-wobbly. Like, oh my god, tomatoes will enslave mankind!
I doubt it.
Okay, I think you're too close. That's 3 seconds from now.
Well, yeah, so the
But like over 100 years is like, 100 years from now, tomatoes will enslave mankind again.
I was about to say that the Path Master guy, the Golden Path himself, would probably, among other things, be particularly skilled in this. I think psychohistory it was called. In
Yes. Darn it! What is
evil
Foundation?
Foundation.
Psychohistory. Yes.
Yeah. So he's an evil psychohistorian. Wow, that's new.
Yes. Yes.
At some point, they have to track down a psychohistorian and actually just find a historian who's gone psycho. Not what we meant, you idiot.
But yeah, Overwatch would be just a little too chaotic for their plans, making sure that too many of the weak survived and like fermenting peace between the factions and stuff. And
yeah, I'd like to think that they got involved at the start of Overwatch. They had like a mole in the group or whatever guiding them in a certain way. Thought they could manipulate it, and then the mole got kicked out at some point, and it was like, oh well, we'll just destroy Overwatch, and then suddenly they managed to turn public opinion against them and blew up their base physically.
I like the idea that the mole was like trying to get everyone to trust him, so he went on a combat mission and got killed like as soon as he exited the combat craft. And like nobody realized that he was dead until because of just like a glitch, because they were busy focusing on the overall war until Overwatch was starting to do things that they were like, hey, shouldn't we have heard about? Oh shit. But by that point they were like too far out of their control. And
now a evil conspiracy lurking from the shadows is gonna be put a primer what do you call that?
Primary threat?
No, puts a priority on surveillance. And I was just realizing that Sombra, eventually, because she has to grow up first...
she's 30.
Well, no, but at the time of the Omni Crisis, I meant.
Omnic Crisis, yeah.
Omnic Crisis. Damn it.
She openly states that a lot of these... there were a lot of children left orphaned by the Omnic Crisis.
Right.
Prime recruiting ground for the Golden Path.
That's right. Wow, one of her friends could get, like, recruited into it. She doesn't even know until years later, right? And they meet again.
Right.
And anyway, I was saying that she, being the hacker that she is, would notice surveillance going on and invent counter surveillance for our heroes to use. And then,
if she's not recruited as part of Talon.
Well, she might be, yeah. But anyway, somebody's got to do counter surveillance when you're dealing with the Illuminati.
Yeah, fair point.
So maybe she changes sides a few times over and over. And
I
over
like
again.
the idea that Bastion, if they recruit Bastion, Overwatch recruits Bastion, Bastion just accidentally doing counter surveillance. He like triggers and starts blowing up cameras. Like someone knocks on a door. Will you stop doing that? I don't know what that was. I don't know who I was having speak.
That
was like,
sounded kind of Australian.
I was going.
No, it's like Australian Scottish.
Yeah.
I was like Scots Australian. Now that's
Scots-Australian.
Scots-Australian. All right, we need a Scots-Australian character now. Anyway. So yeah, who are we going?
Okay,
through?
go down a little bit.
All right, other characters on our list.
Okay,
here.
Arisa would want to join up with Overwatch once it okay, there'd be like multiple phases to this. The first arc would be recruiting all these old people back into Overwatch. Doing like hit and run against Talon, which is Talon's the public face of the Golden Path right now. With the secret Talon is the public face of the Secret Kings.
Yes, yeah, whatever.
Okay, the Secret Kings is the organization and the name of the inner circle people, but Golden Path is the ruler of the Secret Kings.
Sure. It wouldn't be too bad if the Golden Path was used interchangeably as the name of the whole organization too, just to further confuse it before we have the reveal of, oh wait, there's literally a guy.
Reminds me, like I was joking with some people online, like the Romulans from Star Trek love their secrets so much that at one point they lose the location of their homeworld. It's like, fuck. So, Tomalak, take me to Romulus. Okay, Picard, I'm gonna level with you. No one's seen Romulus in like 30 years. We lost it. How did you lose it? You know the whole compartmentalization thing? We can take it too far.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so the original group would be like Tracer, Winston, the original group, aside from, the obviously Talon people.
Yeah, not everyone on our heroes list even has to be just Overwatch or just Talon. We got heroes and then the website.
Well, no,
heroes.
I'm just trying to figure out like the first arc of this.
Well, the first arc, yeah. So Winston contacts Tracer, maybe.
Eventually, Mai gets in there.
Eventually,
via not
Mai-
stupiding.
Via not stupiding. Yeah, you know what? If I had my idea earlier, if she was cryo. Well, let's see. She went into cryo before the crisis even popped up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she could still have been in some other combat situation. That's how she got injured and then went into cryo for that reason. Just give her connection to fighting and somehow give her fighting skills, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, what if she was like studying environmental effects in of the winters in Australia? That way she could come into contact with the Junkers.
She could. And then fight Junkers. Though, did the Junkers... I mean, I kind of imagine that it was after the Omnic crisis that Junktown got established and all this junk stuff happened because everything fell apart. Seeing as we've got such a global cast, we're probably going to want a globe-trotting plot, and that makes sense too with an Illuminati. Yeah. Like so they'll have to have reasons to go from one place to another while we investigate various thingamajigs. And
like at the end of the first arc, though, I think that there should be like a crisis or something, like the second King's Row uprisings, and Overwatch decides.
Oh, wow, it's called King's Row, and we have this King's thing going on. Anyway.
No, well, okay. And Overwatch says, we stopped this once before, we're going in again, and this reveals Overwatch to the world. However, this time, since everyone saw them doing this good stuff, public opinion is firmly with them, and the United Nations, or whoever body is supposed to be in control of the world, is like, well, we can't take them out because...
Well, that'd be interesting if there's all sorts of reason for public opinion to be with them, and some people do, and then the Golden Path conspirator folks have to keep taking them down by more and more routes and become a little more obvious as a conspiracy as things go by, right? It's like, oh, you're straining at our ability to stay in the shadows here, you freaking Overwatch, you know?
Yeah.
They start assassinating more people that were like Overwatch supporters or allies, and when we're like, if we even keep dying, stop it.
But like, this would allow for various governments to send, okay, here's some people for the new Overwatch.
Okay.
Like, in theory, it would be, to help keep the world safe, keep an eye on them and kill them all if you think that they're turning against us again.
Oh, man.
Which would explain why Zarya would be there, because, like, for the Russians, Diva, whose skills would really be needed by the Koreans to help fight the giant Omnic in the ocean.
Maybe we get to... Maybe her recruitment arc involves putting that damn thing to sleep. Right? Like, we help her with that, and then she gets to retire from that job to help us. Yeah.
Ooh, for Symmetra, that could actually work well in our favor. There's corporations who are part of the Secret Kings.
Yeah. They're maybe like a step below Talon, but they're still being controlled ultimately by the Secret Kings.
Yeah, so they have Symmetra go in as like their agent to spy on them. And this time, try not to die as soon as you exit a fucking jet. But it's basically... Symmetra is their unknowing agent, which could create tension and drama, because she thinks she's just sending, this is just normal stuff to send back to the bosses.
Right. It sounds like we're orbiting a really neat theme here about basically trustworthiness versus suspicion. There's a whole lot of, there's a general feeling of Overwatch of, folks who are heroes and friends together and whatever, at least some of them, like Tracer and Winston being old friends. And then on the other side, there's our villains who are constantly working in the shadows, sowing suspicion, causing conflict on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's a triumph of, yes, actually finding true friends you can count on versus, no, the world is just full of dicks and you can't trust anybody. That's a nice theme.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had this wonderful mental image of, like, Overwatch going to stop, like, a secret Talon base in the Outback, and they get there and they're like, okay, guys, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna stop Talon. This is what we've trained for. This is what we've... Kaboom! And the base blows up behind them. And then Road Dogg and Junkrat just kind of dance out. How did you know that was a Talon base? Talon base? That was what that was? Oh no, those blokes just stole our car. They stole our motorcycle, so we decided that the best way to do... Oh, so you tried to get it back? Oh no, they broke it, so we just blew up the base. Well, what was I supposed to do? That was my motorcycle. That was my motorcycle, you blokes. What was I supposed to do? Not turn them into a giant flaming cloud of debris?
Right.
And they say you're the genius, Monkey Man. I am an ape. I am someone who doesn't care because you eat bananas. And I don't like bananas, so therefore I don't like you. Go back to the moon, you space hippie. By the way, how do those glasses fit on your face? I mean, and Roadhog just grabs him by the scruff of the neck and starts dragging him off. Before he turns around. Can any of you give us a ride back to the nearest gas station? We don't have a car.
Oh boy. I also love the idea of suddenly we've connected apes with the moon, which makes sense in context. But it leads to all sorts of weird things. Like if you were trying to taunt an ape and be a jackass about it, you'd be like, yeah, you're some sort of Neil Armstrong, aren't you? Wait, what? Oh yeah, that's an insult now because it means moon, which means ape, which means
Hey Neil, hey Neil, get your monkey butt back up to the moon.
I am not
Ook, you Buzz Aldrin looking motherfucker.
God, I would just love, like, he continues going on, like, maybe even people ignoring him, where he just brings this up several times, but somehow he goes through, like, the entire list of anyone who ever got near the moon. Like, he's memorized all that, even though he's an idiot, but because it's a list of insults now. Yeah, you and Mike Collins don't know what you're doing. Like, you shut up already.
Oh yeah, Mr. Gorilla. Mr. Monk. Oh yeah? You ring-tailed lemur? If you're so smart, then tell me this. How come your bone density didn't degenerate from all those years in living in low gravity when apes are evolved to live on a 1G environment?
I love it. I like imagine him like reading that off a piece of paper that he'd like printed out in advance, just to like,
just to fuck with
just
him.
to mess with him. Just like...
That's right. I'm a doctor, Dr. Junkrat, PhD in astrophysics. But why, if you're a doctor, then why are you doing this? I didn't say I liked the job, I just said I had it. Look, let me just tell you this. Australian gut rot beer. Holy shit. Took one sip. Next thing I know, it's 6 years later and I have a diploma in my hand. And everything's on fire. Except the diploma. The diploma's fireproof. I don't know why. Roadhog is just like, oh God, please kill me.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Like, everyone eventually starts suspecting Roadhog is a Golden Path agent because no one would stick with Junkrat that long, and he's just like, oh God. Yeah, but you should see. He shows them. But this is what Junkrat is giving me. Holy shit, he has dental? We don't have dental. How do you have dental?
Money and explosives. Explains everything. Even dental work. And he like leers really close to the camera when he says that. And you're like, wait, what? Explosives is dental work?
Oh yeah, Lovell? Well, let's see you deal with... He pulls a gray out of his... Gray and shoves it in Winston's mouth. This! Oh my God, all of my cavities are healed. How did you do that?
I doubt that would
I am a mate. I'm Junkrat. Even I don't know how I do what I do.
I was gonna have Junkrat make a reference. Yeah, people always say like brain surgery or rocket science. You know, you make a reference to rocket surgery. It's not rocket surgery, you know. It's a bit more messy. Like, wait, what? More messy?
Oh my God. They just keep running into these idiots who like keep fucking up all these major talent operations by total accident. Like, okay, we have now this plague will eliminate this city and ferment war between Brazil and Argentina. And then a bus slams into the building and knocks over all the chemicals. All the talent scientists die, and it's because it was a distraction for Roadhog and Junkrat to rob this bank, completely unaware of it.
Yeah. I could see that we bump into them fairly early on and accidentally manage to convince them that there's much better loot to be had on other continents. Instead, they go across the world. Dang, why did we say that?
Oh, God.
No, Winston could do it accidentally because he'd like mention that well, the Australian GDP is not as high as it once was. Other countries have more wealth and a technical. Did you hear what he said, Roadhog? We gotta get to Japan or whatever.
They steal the Shimada family castle. They're just a source of comedy because no one knows how they do this stupid shit because they're Looney Tunes characters.
Yeah,
right. Serious.
I wanna see them make reference to like following in the path of Carmen Sandiego. Like stealing.
My great grandma Carmen.
Yeah.
I miss her hat.
He would know. He would have her hat like as an heirloom, and he's like puts it on briefly.
Oh, don't you all know who the descendant of the greatest criminal of all time is? No, seriously, do you know? Because I don't.
He's descended from like both Carmen and who is that one French thief?
Javert.
Not Javert. Javert's like the opposite. Javert's the guy who spent all his time trying to catch Jean Valjean.
Oh, okay.
But I was thinking of Lupin. Antoine Lupin, after Lupin the Third was named after him, and he could be like, he could just claim. You wouldn't know if it was true. But he's like also descended from that guy. I want to see Junker just go on and on about his family tree until eventually it's like ridiculously complex with every character you've ever mentioned. Just like, yeah, then my great uncle on my mother's father's side was the world's greatest detective, really liked bats. And then like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's just the greatest detective. He really liked bats. It shows Sherlock Holmes. Watson, have I ever told you how much I appreciate bats?
Actually he had a thing for bees. There was a story after he retired. He went in and like founded a bee farm or something. For some reason.
Okay, but like some of the more international characters who couldn't obviously leave otherwise could join because like the various nations are like, join Overwatch. And it'd be like furthering into the suspicion thing because all these people are really here to spy on Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like a flock of wolves.
Yeah, and then some of them, they don't know that they're being manipulated, but they are, and others might be like more actually bad guys. I was going to say earlier though is also this sense of we rejoin together to fight Talon, and there's a crisis at the end of the first arc. We got to figure out at least what Talon seems to be up to, right? Their more immediate goal. They're getting their hands on some new weapon, maybe, or they're going to kill off some important person or place or thing. Or all the nouns. And then the verbs, too, because they hate grammar.
They're going to destroy the Omnic monasteries.
Oh.
Where Zenyatta comes from. And since those are seen as a place... No! They're going to destroy Numbani. That's
the nation that Orisa and her creator came from.
Nation state. It's not super clear.
It's like a Wakanda, I'm guessing.
Well, I'd hesitate to say that because there is actually a Wakanda in Illinois, so...
No, I mean Wakanda, the one I'm referencing, the Marvel Wakanda.
Oh, right, that Wakanda.
The one is an African nation with high technology, that's what I meant.
Okay, but... what was the name of the town that I just mentioned?
Wakanda?
No. The not Wakanda place. The one you're comparing Wakanda to.
Oh, the one where Orisa's from?
Yeah.
We'll look it up now.
I said it like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to that particular word.
Oh, good. That's always a nice feeling.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Well, the name of that nation, while I look it up...
But anyways, yes, that place, since it's the fusion, since it's where Omnics and humans live in peace, if that was the place that would be, if that place gets destroyed, seemingly by uprising, it would seem like, oh, humans and Omnics really can't live together in peace, which would eventually ferment war between the
Numbani.
God, I said it like 30 seconds ago.
That's okay.
Numbani, if they can make it fail, it'll say, okay, humans and Omnics cannot live together. They're trying to restart the Omnic War.
Okay, I could see that. Now let's make that dramatic. Not just that like a war breaks out, but like they're gonna sneak a nuke into there or something.
Which actually would
give
fit
us a
in with
time
the game
bomb,
because that is actually the plot of one of the missions in Overwatch. You have one team is trying to deliver a nuke to an Omnic area.
Okay. So they've got a thing there, and not just like they're bringing it in a box and they're gonna nuke it, but like they're let's say we're building a really cool building in the capital city of Numbani.
Which I think is Numbani.
Okay, well, let's call it Numbani City then. Whatever.
Okay, occupation, base of... Oh, God fucking damn it. Where the fuck is Numbani?
Well, I'm seeing a word Nigeria in the middle of that sentence.
Okay, let's...
Manufacturing. Omnium. Is Omnium a noun now?
That's the place where Omnics are built.
Okay, fine. Well, they're building, let's say, a huge energy reactor thing that also looks really nifty from an architectural standpoint.
Yeah.
And it's going to provide, this will be like a big old arc reactor. It'll provide electricity for a little chunk of the world. And it's going to be great, but there's a secret...
And it's clean.
And it's clean energy, of course. And May knows about something about that because she's an environmentalist. And
okay, that will allow her to get in on the mission.
Yeah, she'd have some contacts or something. So they're building this thing though, and when it gets turned on, it'll be lots of clean energy. It'll be great. But Talon's got a mission to sabotage the whole thing, reverse it into a bomb essentially, or plant a bomb in it, or both. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do that, as of the day it turns on, which is like next July 15th or something. So we have a deadline to figure out who's doing what and where are they planning and how do we stop it and whatever, right? And by the time we figure it out, it's like, oh, just barely enough time to do something about it, So that'd be cool. And then we could end up preventing that thing from exploding, but Illuminati-type folks always have multiple plans. Xanatos, that's the name I'm looking for. They're doing Xanatos shit, so, you prevented that, but a war just broke out in Eastern Europe between Omnics and humans or something, because we were planning two things at once, you idiots. Dang it! So Overwatch gets to be all heroes for preventing this one near-apocalypse, but shit's still going down. But
there's still, like, a mini Omnic war going on over there. And this is kind of exactly what the Overwatch was founded to help fight against. Mm-hmm. So...
I'm just wondering all of a sudden, does Overwatch has got, maybe 20 people that we know of. But being a global outfit, did they have, like, a whole bunch of lower ranking people that used to work for them doing field intelligence and stuff like that? Is there, like, a kind of a movement almost?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because that'd be kind of neat. Like, it's not just the flashy heroes that exist, but there are thousands of other folks who might be inspired, if they believe the cause is just, to take up arms again, or to send us intelligence, or, there's sort of a guerrilla thing going on
Which would explain Lucio and how he gets into contact with them.
Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty close to his actual thing. He was inspired by Overwatch, so now he's resisting that corporation.
Right, yeah, but let's have him. It's inspired by Overwatch, and then he's able to send them a phone call or whatever because he meets somebody who was a low-ranking member and have their phone numbers and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, you know what? I could imagine Winston, because he's computer reading stuff too, and Sombra was too young at the time. Unless Sombra happens to walk by while she's 10 years old, which she might have. Anyway, if Winston is designing their comm systems, and he keeps getting these bureaucratic orders to use certain programs and whatever, and he kind of resists that, and it turns out later that the Golden Path was the one figuring out, no, please use this comm system. It's the one we can track. And Winston, thankfully, was rebellious enough to invent a couple of other things on the side, which they can't track because they didn't program those. Like, dang you, frigging apes. You damn dirty apes.
Plus, Winston programmed Athena on his own. Maybe Athena could eventually become a character with like an omnic body or something.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She's like mostly just the announcer, but still.
You know something? Just because of what I was just saying. At some point or other, they have to go to New York. And we don't even see it happening at first. They're on a beach for some reason. And they're walking by. And Winston goes around a corner and just says, "Don't do it." And everyone looks around nobody do it. And then somebody just goes, "Oh, you maniacs." It's not even blown up or anything, but the Statue of Liberty's over there. "You burned it up. Don't do it. I told you not to." I hate that movie.
My God, I hate you all. I swear to God. Do you guys want me to take inspiration from that film? Do you want me to take inspiration from that film? And of course, that's the episode that's well, this is like the Omnic War is winding down because of a combination of political pressure from Zenyatta's monasteries and, Overwatch kicks ass. Although there are still bastards on the human side, too. It's not just Omnics or...
There should be definitely some major side plots where we have to take down, like, bad human guys that are...
But, like, when they're visiting New York, this is when the space gorillas come in.
Oh.
Because the Golden Path realizes, okay, the Omnic War didn't really work out. But don't worry, we have a plan for... As long as our operational facility... Junkrat and Roadhog just showed up. God fucking damn it! Okay, space gorillas, fuck New York.
Oh, man. I hope that the Junkrat and Roadhog have, like... this, like, an unknown guardian angel who just loves watching them screw things up.
He doesn't even do anything. He's just like, holy shit.
But just, like, somebody who, like, occasionally, like, sends them support they don't even know about. So that it's like, they're immortal almost. Like, not this literally, but, like, damn it, like, they always get involved in stuff and, like, somebody's, like, helping them behind the scenes.
Junkrat is Doomfist's brother. So technically the Golden Path has been sabotaging themselves because the Golden Path wants, okay, these are potentially strong members of humanity. We must keep them safe. So they have, like, one... Roadhog is that guardian angel. He was assigned by the Golden Path to keep Junkrat alive.
And then what? Apparently he just, he's okay with them blowing up Talon bases so long as he gets that one job done.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Hey, look, you want me to do 2 things? Ugh. Well, you gave me 3 orders. Make sure he's safe. Don't interfere with Talon operations. And do everything that Junkrat says. I can only do 2!
Really just only 1. He keeps him safe and sometimes, like, puts the fuse out on the thing before they about to blow stuff up.
Okay. Oh my God, that is the stupidest thing, but I love it.
Yeah, no.
I am the greatest warrior of my generation. I am Doomfist, and you will... Do me, my old boy! How you doing? You got a bottle? We got a party to get to. Oh, Lord God, help me. Hello, James. How are you? Oh, I'm doing great, Timmy, my boy. Hey, it's the monkey boy. I'm not a monkey. God damn it. God damn it. Everyone's just like, oh, motherfucker.
Oh, man. I was also just randomly thinking...
Reinhardt loves Junkrat for some reason. No one can figure out why, but they just, like, really...
I was thinking Reinhardt loving Roadkill because they'd both be,
Roadhog.
Roadhog. Because they'd both be, like, silent badasses with no face. Just, like, staring at each other in the distance. Like they're in the distance from, like, other characters. They're, like, across the road or something, just staring. And then Junkrat says to everybody, "Yeah, they're getting along lovely, look at that!" Oh, that's some real bonding right there. Just staring.
Reinhardt is really bombastic.
So. Oh, okay, never mind. I don't see. I just saw from his picture, like, that looks like a guy who would just glare at you because you can't see his eyes,
Well, he has power armor on, so that's actually a good thing they can't see his face. It means they didn't do the stupid thing of, well, Now that I'm going into dangerous situations, I'll remove all armor from my most vital part of my body.
I do think, like, Junkrat might say that. Like, he would have armor on and take it off because it's combat time. And they'd be like, no, Junkrat! And he's like...
That's not how that works. That's not how that works. To the Secret King, to the Golden Path, my true masters, you're not paying me enough for this shit.
No, I'd like to think that he silently, like, he was given the order to protect Junkrat, but then he just silently rebelled at some point. He doesn't even need to have a big rebellion moment. He just like, no, I just like protecting this guy more than I like serving you. Yeah, the end.
So it's not like we avert the whole I've raised you for years, so I consider you my son type of thing, like what Iroh had or what Alfred has. Or what Iroh has with Alfred. That was a weird fan fiction.
Sure. Or,
Of Tea and Englishman. A romance fic rated M for mature. Oh, God, no!
Well, you know what? You could almost give him... It'd be interesting to give this really silent, fatso, violent guy this bit of philosophy. Where the Golden Path is all about inspiring conflict to find the greatest power and then to take that power for themselves and basically to maintain control and order. And Road Dogg slid over to the opposite idea of, you know what, life needs chaos. And Junkrat is the man to provide it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna like
Deadpool without the fourth wall.
Yeah,
breaking.
he's like a vital aspect of the universe. We need to have enough chaos for things to function. So screw you, everything. I'm just gonna make sure this one guy doesn't die.
Like just once, he's like mostly silent, just occasionally idiot. Left. Two. It's like, I protect Junkrat because I believe he is the living avatar of chaos, and the universe itself cannot live or die without the very faction of chaos. Order in and of itself cannot function. It is stillness, death. But chaos is alive. It is fire. It is death. It is life. It is everything. All beings live in the constant dance between the two polarities. He is an inspiration to us all, and that is why I protect Junkrat.
And he has to say that to Zenyatta, who is, like, suddenly impressed that this guy has, like, philosophical chops.
And then he just walks away. Oi, Lord Bucket! How many burgers you want?
Puts
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, you know what I want him to do? How many burgers do you want? He goes 3, 4, 5, and Junkrat turns around. All right, 345 burgers.
Yes, yes, perfection. So,
and it's like it makes you wonder why he like says it the way he does. Like, is he doing some sort of mental calculation that gives him the first digit first, and then this very specific number he has to get to? Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, so yeah. What else are we gonna say here? We got a list up here. Lucio, being a new guy, would be more idealistic than the rest at best. He could write songs about Overwatch in universe and like help use that to help inspire people to the cause. And then there's like secret messages in some of them, right? Like literally, you play it backwards.
Evacuate the city.
Oh, nobody in the audience knows what that's a reference to because we haven't actually made that into a thing yet.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for oh my god, 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a good year just brainstorming the Duke of Soul, and I'm not gonna go into that just now because it would take up another 5 hours.
Yeah, we're busy talking about Junkrat fucking up everything.
There's totally a song about evacuating a city, which is secretly it's getting past a group that doesn't speak English to get down to the other group to tell them to evacuate before the thing comes down to blow up everything up, and it has to be in song form because like the guys would notice if we suddenly switched off the rock and roll music and replaced it with something that's not music. So they spontaneously come up with evacuate the city, evacuate. Oh, your face will be pretty, evacuate. Run. It's awesome.
Okay, so
now that's on the internet. That's cool. So yeah, and who else did we have here? Oh, I was gonna say something about Anna and the nature of. Didn't she say something about how there's always war or something? And well, it turns out there's always war because the Golden Path keeps pushing us into it.
Yep.
The Golden Path, I love it when villains have a semi-justification for themselves, like, I'm necessary as a villain. And they could say that, and this could be partly bullshit, but they could say that back in the most ancient, like, prehistoric days, the world was nothing but just sheer conflict. And the only way civilization comes in at all is because people, the Golden Path gets started and organizes conflict in a way that the strongest survive and stuff like this happens.
It can be total bullshit, but
But like he could believe it, like it's like we are necessary component of human history type of thing.
Yeah, or we're just.
Or he's just lying. Okay.
Yeah, oh no! I agree.
Okay,
I lost the words.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. Also, Soldier 76. We were talking earlier about him not actually being a soldier. And I was thinking of him in his video and how he's alone and stuff. And I kind of like the idea of a guy who identifies as a soldier, but no longer has an army to be a part of. And he's trying to like reconcile his identity that way. So, go ahead.
Bastion.
What about him? Oh, they could get together that way. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's so alone.
I'm sorry,
soldier,
I didn't think of it.
A soldier without an army to,
Right. But where Bastion is so happy to just take on the role of the beaver dam builder, Soldier 76 wants to go back to his soldier ways if he can. And I was thinking, though, I mean, obviously he was in Overwatch and lost Overwatch. Could there be another layer in there where he was... maybe the previous army he had been in, like, was of some nation that got wiped off the map or something.
I think it's America because he wears red, white, and blue.
Yeah, he does, though, doesn't
he? He wears red, white, and blue, and his name is Soldier 76.
No, okay, right.
1776 is kind of important to America.
That's true. Frick, honestly, I did not make the 76 connection.
That's why I That's why I said he's similar to Captain America. He's the patriotic hero.
Yeah, okay. Honestly, when you said Captain America, I was thinking of his more the goody two shoesness of him. That's why I had to say, like, well, he's got more gravel to him.
I'm pretty sure he's the result of a super soldier experiment too.
Oh. All right, but then he's got to be some reason why he can't just join the army, like he clearly would like to do. And if obviously America's still around, how about he got kicked out for no good reason? As part of the overall taking down of Overwatch, they submitted false intel about him, like, I don't know, stealing money from the government or something. So he was dishonorably discharged, and he can't be a soldier anymore. But damn it, that's his thing. So yeah, that'd be nice. Then he joins the A-Team because
Hannibal, I don't know about working with no moon monkeys. Long we don't have to fly there. I don't like flying. I pity the fool who tries to make me fly. I pity Doomfist. Pity, I say. Okay, so I guess Farah...
Rocky versus Doomfist. Guys.
What?
Sorry.
Rocky?
Well, I'm just saying there's another character in that universe.
What?
What? You said pity... Okay, I pity the fool is a line from Rocky 3.
No, that's a line from Mr. T.
Yes, from Rocky 3, when Mr. T says that because he's fighting Rocky. He says, I don't hate Rocky, but I pity the fool if he's going to go into fight with me.
I thought he said that in the A-Team.
Probably, but he was in Rocky 3 first.
Oh.
I think.
Well, I did not know that. I thought that was exclusively from the A-Team. So I thought you were saying that the A-Team takes place in the same universe as Rocky.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
The Rocky cinematic universe.
It's just like all of those classic shows or franchises or whatever.
Oh my god, I would love to see, MASH meets the A-Team.
And then they both meet the Ghostbusters because
fuck you, that's why. There is actually a show in Universal Studios where it has the Ghostbusters meeting, who is it? God damn it. Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
We saw like the first 5 seconds of it, and then they realized, okay, no, it's too wet, we can't do any of this. because it was outside,
uh,
and they were worried people might slip and die.
well, yeah, that would be bad and ironic.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, so that's another part of Soldier 76's character is he wants to be redeemed in the eyes of the U.S. government, so he can get back to his soldiering stuff. What do you think he was? A Marine then?
I think he was Army.
Army? Yeah, put him in Army. Yeah, that's fine.
Partially because there was a fan fiction I read which they said, "Oh, were you a Marine? Do I look like a mutant inbred fish?" Ah, so you were Army then? Yes.
Yeah, you think he was? It's Green Berets, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
I think it's
special
Green
forces in the
Berets.
Army. That might make some sense. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they
that
gave him
badass.
super soldier treatment.
Yeah. Naturally, only the best of the best would get that stuff.
We're looking for the worst of the Army. That way, if we lose you idiots, we don't lose anything important.
Oh no.
Actually, I think that is sort of what happened. No, not it's kind of sort of what happened with Captain America. Like the first Captain America was
yeah.
In the new lore, they've retconned it so that the first Captain America was actually a black guy that they used to test the super soldier serum on.
Oh, is he still around?
No, he died.
Oh, wow.
Because
Great.
black people weren't as highly valued.
Wow, that is darkly accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still want to see, Steve Rogers fight alongside Wonder Woman in World War II.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. See if we can get around to that somehow.
I did once see, there was this weird comic that DC and Marvel took place in the same universe, and Queen Hippolyta is trying to get Mary Jane Watson to hook her up with her ideal man. It's a long story. Don't ask.
Okay.
And it's very stupid.
Okay.
And she's trying to describe this ideal man for her. And it turns out that the man she was talking about that she'd seen back in World War II was Captain America.
Hey, good news for you.
I have some good news, ma'am. Anyways.
That's great.
Okay,
so trying to clear his name. He was a Green Beret, Special Forces guy. That's cool. I'd like to see the soldier stuff come out. Not just because so often in fiction we think of soldier as, that's a guy with a gun, he shoots a lot of people. But all these details about, like you were mentioning, having a chain of command, having rules of combat, you would school fellow Overwatchers on this if they ever got somehow lax on details. You might go a little too far once in a while, like the bits on cleaning your bunk at a specific time every day, and those other bits.
Yeah, but don't want to take it too far though, because that kind of joke has been.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to take that too far. But,
yeah, but
just notice there's a whole military culture there is what I'm getting at,
mm-hmm.
and not just he is a guy who can shoot things really well.
Okay, so the first
cool.
season would be rebuilding the Overwatch Classic with maybe one or two additions.
Right. Yeah. Slowly getting the various subgroups or cells or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
The lower level groups reactivated and whatever. Oh, I was gonna say too. Tracer's teleporting plane thing that didn't work, sabotaged by the Golden Path.
Oh!
Because they don't want nobody to have no long-range teleports, so screw up their surveillance a lot. She might accidentally teleport into, the king's headquarters. Which is a cool name by itself, anyway. So, yeah. And then I mentioned earlier that her possibility of teleporting, or time traveling further than just a couple of seconds. And how that might lead her to learn a few things, and they might not like that.
Oh, which is why,
And they probably got their own research going to how to mess with space-time to sort of mess with her ability to teleport. That'd be kind of cool. They're near her base, their base.
By her very existence, she kind of messes up their psychohistory.
Yeah, the psychohistory thing. Oh, what are those guys called? They're Marvel, aren't they?
Dickheads?
No. Well, they are.
Well, they're probably dickheads.
There are this one group, and their whole shtick is that, psychics cannot figure out what they're going to do. So they're the spanner in the works of history or something. I want to call
Challengers of the Unknown.
Challengers of the Unknown.
That's DC.
That's DC. I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, they were supposed to die, but because they're not in the books of eternity.
Right.
I mean, the books of
Destiny.
Yeah.
Eternity's Marvel. Okay.
Yeah. Although, let's be fair, that's kind of a common name, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people named Eternity these days. Hey, Eternity, how you doing?
I actually read that story. Oh my god.
Oh, wow, sweet. So yeah, she's a little bit like that. I was just thinking because they've done some of their own research on this. Like, they didn't completely nix teleporting research. They just took it all underground, right? Because they want to control...
Which would explain why teleportation isn't, like, a really big thing, and just, like, very limited groups of people actually have it.
Right.
Like, Sombra has one. Hey, wait. Sombra has one, and so does Symmetra. And both of those are connected to the Golden Path.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah. The closer you are, the more your tech you get. Is that what we're getting for?
Well, I was going with, they're the only ones who could have access to that technology, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because...
Makes sense.
Oh, and Junkrat also has a teleporter, but it's not really a teleporter as much as a landmine he jumps on and then catapults himself to places. And he calls it a teleporter. Because he's Junkrat.
Yeah, and I mean, we did this implicitly already, but suddenly I'm putting it together that you could partly explain the Looney Tunes physics by him being one of the Golden Children.
Well, yeah, I was like, he's the fraternal twin brother of Doomfist.
So he could actually survive this. Gosh.
Doomay! Oh, Lord God, help me.
And
this is why Doomfist is so ambivalent towards his father. He's like, well, on the one hand, you did teach me everything I know, and I do deeply respect you. On the other hand, you helped create Junkrat. yeah, that was my bad. Well, I can't exactly pick which sperm cells, Seriously, father, how is he part of our genetic makeup? I don't know, mate. You were in another room. I was. How did you get through here? 1 coolers. How many? Yes. Takes a lot to get me buzzed. Like this bomb. He's an explosives expert.
He is, yeah. Also, I was saying that, so if they still have some of the teleporter, etc. technology themselves, you can imagine if Tracer happens to get near one of their bases, like, she starts fritzing out for no reason.
Yeah.
And, like, they might even use that strategically, just, like, have her keep... Okay, wait, when you cross over this invisible line, you fritz. Okay, now step over here. Now step... Okay, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And eventually to establish a perimeter, like, on a map. Like, this is all the places where Tracer fritzes out. I think there's something in the middle there. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm also... Wait, so tell me offhand, what is Tracer's ultimate? Do you know?
I think it's like a bomb.
It's just a bomb to blow things up.
Pulse bomb or something.
Because I would imagine pulse bomb. Tracer loves a large bomb that heals to any surface and dealing high damage. Okay, yeah, that's fine and all, but if I were designing her ultimate, and we'll just use this for the story, is make it a very dangerous technique too, where she intentionally sets the wrong settings on her chrono thing, and it makes her fritz in and out very randomly and very quickly over a certain area, and she just, like, holds the triggers down on her guns and shoots everything. Like, can't aim in this mode. Like, send all your friends out of the room. And there's, like, the risk of, you'll be lost to time or whatever.
Oh, and since her guns are, like, kind of aided with her chronal powers, they'll be supercharged in this time because she's, like, tapping directly into time.
Yeah. It's just, it'd be like,
so it's like a good guy version of the Death Blossom of Reaper.
Yeah, it's a life blossom. Not really. It's a kill the right people blossom. I guess Mercy would be the one to have a life blossom.
Her ultimate is literally raising everyone in the area from the dead.
Ooh, nice. I bet Reaper hates her.
Yeah.
You're the opposite of my shtick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how does she get her power? She was just like a technician of some kind who invented a super Healy thing.
She's got like 3 doctorates.
Oh, well, good for her.
And she's a child prodigy who was in university at age 16.
When you've got a universe where all the super stuff runs on technology, you wind up with a lot of genius heroes.
Yeah, you really do.
We do.
Okay, Symmetra, Lucio made his own stuff, or at least I like to think he made his own stuff. Mercy made her own stuff. Orisa was made by an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Winston is a talking gorilla. I don't really think you can add anything to that. May or Mai or whatever, she's smart. Torbjorn made the Omnics. He made life.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow, you know what? I bet one or more of his 8 children would be would be an interesting target for the Golden Path and their recruitment stuff.
Okay, there's a funny comic online, another one of those AWNN guys, where it's revealed that Tracer's girlfriend is actually Lena Oxton. Well, her name is... Wait, no, not Lena. Emily. Sorry, Lena is Tracer. No, wait, no. Darn it. Lena Oxton is Tracer. God fucking damn it.
Okay, so who's Emily?
Emily is Tracer's girlfriend. Torbjorn is... Well, his last name is Lindholm. So it's suddenly revealed that, oh, my name is Emily Lindholm. You've been sleeping with Torbjorn's daughter? How was I supposed to know? Maybe you should have asked her fucking name. I knew there was something I was forgetting.
No, that was actually really funny that earlier when you said that Tracer's girlfriend ends up being Lena Oxton. Because, like, hey, there's 2 Tracers all of a sudden, and they're just, like, hanging out together. Yeah, the Chrono thing's on the fritz, but this is actually really great. She gets me.
Oh my god, that has to be a scene. And just, like, Soldier 76 just shakes his head. Winston!
No, oh man, if Valentine's Day comes around and she happens to be single that year, she's like, no, it's fine, I don't need a date. I'll just take myself out on a date like I did last year. Winston's like, nope, don't do that again. It's not good for the space-time continuum, Lena, but I'm lonely.
I'm lonely, you big oaf.
I don't mean to trade in the stereotype of girls being more obsessed with Valentine's Day, but anyway.
Hey, everyone gets lonely.
Yeah, they do, honestly.
Particularly when you're unstuck in time.
Yes, I can say from experience that... No, not from experience.
No,
but
you can't speak from fucking experience.
That'd just be really funny to, like, casually bring that up. No, she's got to be able to, like, make all these references to, like, what normally people would say something about metaphorically about time is, like, more literal for her, you know? I'm trying to think
I'm
of
just
examples.
killing time here. Okay. No! It's an expression.
You know,
you
if you
big
kill time,
shit.
it kills me, too. Yeah.
Okay, so we've
And she meets Dr. Manhattan at some point. Yeah. I like the line you said earlier. I'm meeting Tracer in 30 seconds and 4 minutes ago. Yeah. So, we're doing some cool stuff here. We need to, like, explain anybody else. Reinhardt, we mentioned. We at least mentioned everybody.
Yeah.
We didn't do a whole lot with Genji and Hanzo. That's because we kept them where they were.
Yeah, or Diva, but Diva
Diva.
Diva would be joining like in the second season as part of like the various government's programs to spy on Overwatch.
Yeah.
Orisa would be
hopefully-
joining them because she wants to keep people safe.
Yeah. She keeps
She
that
is-
simple idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
I mean, it would
no,
be
it's a
great
great
to
idea.
see her like talking with people who are just super jaded about shit. Like Soldier 76, he's like, I've been fighting for so long. Do not worry. You do not have to fight much longer. I will keep you safe. She just smacks him on the back and like walks into battle with her Gatling gun. He's like, okay, well, that wasn't where I was going with that, but okay, thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, she does really sound like the type to perform a heroic sacrifice at some point. Because he would say, I will keep you safe right before she, swallows the bomb or something, whatever the hell needs to be
She
done.
doesn't have a mouth, so
You know what I
no.
mean? You know what I mean, though? It's like doing something dangerous to save everybody else. That'd be really heart-wrenching. Anyway, you don't have to do it, but interesting idea.
Ooh. Seeing her fight gorillas. No, her fighting off a horde of space gorillas in power armor to keep Effie safe. Effie, I will keep you safe. Just like seeing her get ripped to shreds slowly before like there's a massive explosion as she overloads her core or something. Okay, a little cliche to overload the core, but like she has some of Junkrat's bombs that she confiscated from him, and we're going to like bring them to be properly disposed of. So like she just activates them with one hand and throws them down, and then the gorillas just get shredded. Evie, are you safe?
Yes.
Then I am good.
Has she shown up in that family school AU thing you showed me?
No, I mean,
Orisa?
the family school AU thing had one picture dedicated to each of the non-human members of Overwatch. And
Yeah, I guess they're trying to make more realistic there. I was just thinking of Orisa being almost over helpful. Like, if he turns me down, it'll break my heart. I will keep you safe. Take her to the dance.
yes,
Like,
yes.
no, it wouldn't actually physically break my heart, Orisa. Just come on, come on with me.
There was a funny comic I did see with Orisa where Diva was going, "Hey, where's my mecha go?" And it shows Orisa and the mecha, which is pilotless, doesn't have an AI, it's just a robot suit, no consciousness, standing by a cliffside watching the sunset. Orisa's going, "You are quiet, but I like that."
Yeah.
Well, Diva's kind of awesome because
Yeah, Diva.
her robot has auto-fire shotguns.
Wow.
Auto-fire laser shotguns.
Laser shotguns. Oh,
yes.
Wow. That'll do it. So yeah, we've been demonstrating how brainstorming works. In case you're wondering, guys, this is all live. We did not even say to ourselves like before we started recording, "Oh, hey, let's throw in some crazy brainstorming at the end of all this."
That's actually kind of implied when we do this shit. So.
Well, I mean, that's his little implied, yeah.
Unless we're so busy ranting and screaming about things.
Yeah, we took a brief break to get dinner at one point, but even then, we didn't know. Like, all our brainstorming has been live.
Oh my god.
So, see? Hire us, and we'll just make a bunch of Overwatch comics. It'll be great.
We just need artists.
We just need art. Yeah, we can't draw.
We can't draw for shit.
We can write nifty ideas, though. Get some funny dialogue. He can do a Junkrat voice. You heard him.
So I can.
But I bet all the actual Australians are offended by that. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
They literally turned Australia into Mad Max, so I don't really think that there's much right. Plus, is it really worse than what they did to Australia in Team Fortress?
Well, I was going to say the comeuppance we get is that our American guy is, well, two of them, but anyway. One of them is super cowboy, because that's what Americans are.
And the other has guns.
And the other is, yeah, that's right, cowboys and guns. That's the only thing there is around here, guys, is just cowboys and guns on every street corner.
Yeah, I mean, look, one thing that just fascinates me is that American ideals of heroes, like when you look at the different heroes across different continents, like the Japanese have the idea of like a samurai type thing. English or France would be like a knight. America, we have guns because just guns were such a big part of the creation of our history. I mean, of our nation's mythology.
Yeah. Yeah,
course,
we didn't really have an era where swords were viable. We got founded too early for that. Too early.
Late.
Too late for that. I'm smart.
Yeah. I really hope that they bring the end to that particular era. I mean, it'll still be in our, collective subconscious, but yeah.
You mean you wish there were less gun violence in the world? Yes, I wish there were less violence in general. But
earlier today is when the Las
I know. Honestly, I brought up guns a minute ago, and then I remembered that thing happened, and I was like, that was not a good day to bring that up, and then I was
Let's go talk about gorillas.
Okay, gorillas.
No.
And a group that goes around to eventually end all conflict. Well, hopefully. They strive to end conflict as opposed to this golden path people who keep inciting it. So you see the theme there about how pointless violence is pointless.
Yeah, but we wouldn't knock you over the head with it. Like Babylon 5 would be... Babylon 5 had a message about war. It wasn't, war is bad. It was that war is bad, but sometimes the alternative to not going to... The alternative is worse.
Yeah, I understand that.
I miss you, Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Bring back Babylon 5!
So our next episode is Babylon 6, and how we're going to brainstorm that. No, I would need to watch the whole show first, which, maybe I should for plenty of reasons. But yeah, Overwatch, probably a great game.
Overwatch, we haven't played. There's a lot of potential.
This is a 3-hour review of something we've never played. This is amazing. We are the rambling reviewers.
No, we haven't played the game, but we're fans of the media.
Right, a 3-hour review of what have they made? Like 45 minutes of media now, or maybe an hour and a half.
Something like that.
We're good at this. Is what I'm saying.
Look, we're again. Overwatch the game, I haven't played, so I can't judge. Overwatch the media, we might have bitched, but the truth is that a lot of it is amazing. Yeah. It's got a lot of really talented people, with the exception of the Binary comic. Fuck you, Binary comic.
I'm just imagining now a comic that's all in ones and zeros.
Yeah, well, that would have been better because we couldn't fucking read that one.
And you have to be a robot to read it at all.
Again, that would have been better. But there's a lot of potential here, and we will be watching in the future. So...
We will be overwatching.
No.
In the future.
No.
Sorry. It was too easy. Oh no, he's got a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I've just been playing...
He really does have a sledgehammer.
This sledgehammer is my version of the fidget spinner.
Oh, man. I feel like Junkrat should say that while describing Roadhog's, ways just to kill time. Yeah, he's got his own fidget spinner, and it's just like 2 sledgehammers glued together, and he's spinning.
Doomfist does not have time for fidget spinners. It distracts from... Fuck it, I can't do Doomfist.
That's okay.
That was Doomfist's Terry Crews done badly. Okay, so anyways, I guess that's really not even close to everything we could talk about here, but to be fair, we've talked about everything, so...
All right. Thank you for listening, whoever's out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're signing off.